My name is Rafa Sparza. Many of you know me as a friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, but that's not all I do in our sport. I'm a jiu-jitsu commentator, broadcaster, photographer, meme maker, analyst, writer, coach, tournament producer, and occasional athlete therapist. I know, it's weird. I've worn many hats in jiu-jitsu, but the one that I cherish the most is serving as a host. We have done some incredible things over the past 4 years on this show, but starting this Tuesday, we will roll out a brand new experience for fans of the Grappling Hour. Going forward, we will be offering 2 membership-based offerings. Tier number 1 will give our fans early access to my interviews. Tier 1 members will have the ability to see my interviews a month before they're released to the general public. And as a topical show that has a track record of being the first destination for some of the biggest names in our sport, you won't want to miss out on those. Members of this tier will also have access to audio versions of this show in the event that they don't want to see my face, which I totally get. Each month, subscribers will get to see 4-hour-long interviews. Tier 2 members will not only have early access to my interviews, but they will also get to see brand new content that will not be available anywhere else. New premium content includes bi-weekly podcast minisodes. These episodes are designed for the grappling superfans who want in-depth discussions with our guests on topics ranging from greatest losses to opponents that competitors respected the most. Topics will be explored for limited runs, anywhere between 4 to 10 weeks, and will give the featured guests on each episode an opportunity to share the type of unique insight that either gets lost or overlooked in most other interviews. Drill Sessions, a monthly segment where friends and guests of the show will share short videos of the techniques and sequences they're currently drilling in their gyms. Swept Under the Mat, never before seen behind-the-scenes footage from the Grappling Hour archives, and short videos and vlogs from the coverage that I do at various MMA and grappling live events. Members will also be treated to show bloopers and occasional clips of my own training sessions. There's also going to be a live chat dedicated to members of this tier that will answer questions ranging from just about anything you guys want to throw at me. And finally, members of this tier will also have the ability to pitch mini-sode episodes and occasionally submit questions for upcoming guests. To become a member, head on over to hi.page/Grappling Hour. You can also find the link for that page in the description below. Now listen, I know there are a lot of you who may not be able to afford these subscription tiers. That's why it's important to me to still offer some content for those people who want to support the show, but may not have the means to do so financially. So for you, we're still going to offer a condensed weekly version of the show. That show will give you the first 10 minutes of my interviews, and a month after that episode is released to our early access and premium subscribers, they will be unlocked on our YouTube page. In return, all that I ask is that you subscribe to us here on our YouTube page and that you continue to like and share the content that you enjoy on our page. I know money is tight for everybody right now. The last thing you want to do is thinking about having to invest in another subscription-based service. But I hope that you see the value in the types of interviews that I do. I hope you see the consistency of my coverage over the past 10 years, and I hope you see the overall vision that I have for this show. I have never been short on ambition. And for the next phase of this show, I'm taking a pretty big swing. So with that, I'm going to need some support. I hope that you'll come with us and help us become an even bigger and better show. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for even watching all the way to right now, even if you do nothing. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats. It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Sparza, coming to you live with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. How are you doing? I hope well. I'm very excited to see you guys because here tonight, for the very first time, we're able to broadcast on Instagram Live. So that means that the folks who are watching on Instagram Live actually see the video, not just the phone version that I do over on the site. It's not a separate broadcast. Tonight, they are one and the same. So if you're joining me here, you actually get the good quality of this and much, much more. So I'm so happy to see you guys. And it is great. We're actually here for the UFC Fight Pass Invitational. There is about 10 matches here tonight, and I'm very stoked to walk you guys through them. And it says, I just came with that intro. Well, thank you very much for that, Jiu-Jitsu Memes. Appreciate that. That was unexpected on my side. I do see Brandon McCatherine and TJ DeSantis. I hope that I am watching the right broadcast here, so I'm going to quickly come around this way to make sure that I am not looking at a different broadcast. But it says Fight Pass Invitational, so it's going to take me a minute here. But yes, it is beautiful to see you guys. Talk to me about your thoughts, your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. What's up, Patrick? Good to see you, brother. It has been so long since I've been able to see and connect with so many of you guys, so it is wonderful to be hanging out with you guys. We are here for 10 matches, 10 matches, and they are today, as I've been told, a modified 80cc rule set, so you're going to have to hang with me because I don't quite know what exactly that means. So it's not going to be necessarily the EBI format that we are used to seeing on this broadcast. I think they're switching it up a little bit, so keep in mind, you guys are probably going to learn these things as I learn them, so my apologies if we are slightly delayed in time trying to figure all of that out, but I'm going to be watching around. What's up? This toast is actually, I just got a new subscriber, CLCO1. Cheers to you. Thank you so much for following along. If you guys don't know, if you follow along on the show and you become a new subscriber or you like and share this broadcast, we give you a toast on air, and this goes on out to CLCO1. And just in case you guys didn't know, has the best guard in the game. Absolutely. Best guard. Can't pass it. Fact check me on that. Bet you can't. So I'm seeing here that the UFC Fight Pass is actually on YouTube right now. So these are the prelims or the opening matchups. And we do have some notes and comments throughout the evening. So yes, this portion is currently on YouTube in case you guys were wondering. So I know it gets confusing because it is very strange. The UFC is a little new to the grappling side, so they think that we have our shit together. We do not. So let me see. I'll go ahead and go over this way. I think Gordon's mustache sucks, but Meragoli should win. That's fair. And it says, why isn't GSP competing? He was supposed to, right? Yes, he was supposed to. He ended up getting injured. Now, here's where things get a little weird because the most recent headline was that GSP was supposed to be taking on, and correct me if I was wrong here, I thought it was supposed to be Damian Maia. And then all of a sudden he was injured or something happened, and I thought he was out, and I said, okay, well, that sucks. Hate to see that. And then it said, well, GSP would have been commentating or would have been competing, and if he was competing, it would have been against Nick Diaz. And I said, that's not the headline. That's not what we were told. So that's the hardest part about doing any of these shows is you look at them and you go, oh, we're supposed to see this versus this. And then the UFC just does the Men in Black like, no. That was not what we said. Can't prove it. So, that's what we have going on that side. It says, are you going to broadcast? Well, this is a broadcast, BJJ Brazil. So, confusing question. But I believe what you are saying here is in conjunction with Gabriel Maia's question, which is, hello, will you show the screen? I will not be showing the screen. I actually know many of the people who work on these shows and programs, and I don't want to take away their broadcast. And also they'll come at me with lawsuits and stuff like that. So what I can do is the next best thing, which is narrate and give you the play-by-play. And full disclosure here, you're looking at GSP, he's on the commentary, but I wouldn't be surprised if GSP also makes his way onto this broadcast as well. Just saying. So don't be surprised if you hear a certain familiar voice echoing throughout the evening. So those are the notes and thoughts I have for you guys. And as I mentioned, you give us a like and a subscribe, we give you a toast on air. Now, you may be asking yourself, Raph, what are you drinking tonight? And if you're like me, an alcoholic, you definitely want to know what it is. Tonight, the drink of choice is Puff the Magic Dragon. And this one's coming to us from our friends over at King's Brewing Co. Now, these are some of the best beers that you will ever have. I've always enjoyed these. They're very, very fruity, very nice, but there's a nice taste to them. And I wanted to have something that was going to be hefty enough to get me through this evening. Because again, there's 10 matches, in case you haven't heard me mention that once or twice before. So Gabriel, BJJ Brazil, I will be giving you guys the play-by-play and letting you know what's going on. And I believe tonight, they're going over the rules. The matches are 1 8-minute round with 4 minutes of overtime in their rounds. I think in the later ones they have, absolute matches are 1 10-minute round with 1 5-minute overtime period. Okay. I think you just missed us answering this question, so thank you very much for your question. I'm looking over here and it says, if no submission, overtime, false traditional point system in effect. Boo. Points awarded for takedowns and securing and maintaining dominant positions. Okay. Passive behavior or unwillingness to engage can result in points deducted at any time. So when they say points deducted at any time, the fuck does that? Is this sub only until points at overtime? If no submission at the end of overtime, points will determine the winner. If no score, winner is... What the fuck is that? They just, before I could finish reading it, they just did a large 5 that just got Rambo scraped across the screen right there. So confusing. So anyway, yes, I will do my best to walk you through all of this. Our first match leading off the night. Let's go ahead and put on the branding here for those of you who are watching on the broadcast where you can see it on the side. We'll keep you posted over on this side with what matches are coming up right now. And they really are loving that 5, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flashing at you this evening, which is strange AF. So that's what we got going on for us this evening. And right now, Andy Varela is about to make his way on out. And he is taking on young Senor Rocha, a.k.a. one of the Rocha children, Vagner's kids, who I'm pretty sure is probably going to slap a bitch tonight. I see a note here that says Meragoli, and I think this is misspelled, but it says will win. And it's followed by a statement that says, I'm sure. Odds-on favorite to win, you have to say. I think he is very much looking like the gentleman who is going to take it home tonight. So there is that. This match is coming to you at the 185-pound category. Though if you're looking at Achilles, it's deceptive because this dude is very tall, so it's hard to get a gauge of what his actual weight might be. But walking out right now, forget Andy Varela. Let's look on over at Coach Casey. Oh, the Don. Looks like he's growing his hair out a little bit, coming in with the hat. And one thing that you have to know is if you've never seen an Andy Varela matchup before, it is going to be consistent movement, and it's going to be very, very fun to watch. Like, he has a philosophy which is kill or be killed, and it is always very interesting to watch with some acrobatics thrown in between for good measure. So there is that. And my thanks to all of you who are tuning in. If you are on Instagram, I am keeping a look at some of those notes. What's up, Fifth Coob? What's up, Cats? What's up, the Brew Bear? What's up, Rafael Leal? Oh, there's another Rafael. Don't like that. What's up, Juan22M1? And I'm seeing you guys come in. Like I said, feel free. Give us some chats. Give us some love in the section. I'm going to be checking it all throughout the evening. And for those of you who are unable to watch along live for whatever reason, you don't want to pay it, and believe me, I get it. I am happy to walk you through it. So give me some notes and feelings. But yes, coming over here, 10th Planet versus Vagner Rocha, a.k.a. Fight Sports. And the 5 is flying at you again. So that's what we got coming up right now. And very excited for you guys to be along with us for this ride. And you said, yep, will be fun. I appreciate that. Here's the thing, man. I love when we get people who are excited, who are here to see some good grappling action, and I'm pulling for the UFC to pull these things off because it has been far too long that we've seen subpar things. At the very least, this looks professional. Like, this is nice. This is a good place to be. So I'm hoping that we can continue to see productions like this coming up on our side of the world. So I hope that you guys are feeling the same way that I do because, it's been rough, man. It's been rough watching this. If Connor was coming in at, Andy Varela is 182 pounds, it says. And yes, they're talking about his accomplishments, and he has many of them. Like I said, anytime you see him in a kind of match, you're guaranteed for a few things. So we'll be bringing you the action here tonight. Of course, GSP on the commentary. And like I said, even though he's not here with us physically, he may be with us in spirit. For more on that, we'll return shortly and give you some notes on that. But looks like we're about to start right now, and we are already off. 2 gentlemen starting off to get grips, fighting for them. This is an 8-minute match, just to let you know. And Varela already starts with the throw by, doesn't quite get it, and there's already some somersaults in action happening here. So Andy now working to pass off of the knees. Achilles pushes him off and then stands right back up to re-engage him. At this point, I would like to tell you guys, again, we will be giving toast to those who get finishes within regulation. So it's my hope that we see submissions tonight and we can do cheers and toast to those who get finishes, because we like to reward that here. Now, granted, if you do the math and this really gets stalled out, these can be 10-minute to 12-minute matches and then some. And I believe in your mains, it can probably go as long as 15 minutes. So we have a very long night in front of us. The gentlemen then go back to their conventional clubbing and digging if they can to get in for some space. Achilles trying to pummel in, doesn't quite get so. Now looking for a game of mercy, they stop and recalibrate to see where they want to go next. What's going to be very interesting to see is how Achilles, I mean, he's definitely the younger gent here, but he is looking to go just as aggressively, and he's kind of pushing Verella around. And this is what we talked about just in terms of being very tall and lanky. And Andy's trying to keep a very low posture to make sure it's going to throw him off just ever so slightly. And at this same space, Achilles kind of using a bottom hand to reach out, gets kind of shut down very shortly. Looks like he's going to suggest a level change. Now, that'll be very interesting because you have, when you're a little bit taller, trying to do a level change with somebody who's very quick, it can be problematic. Like, Andy Varela is very hard to surprise here, given the monsters that he trains with over at 10th Planet in Las Vegas. So it'll be very, very fun to watch and see if he's able to do it. And a nice little step, an aggressive step to break the grip here from Andy Varela, who's now pulling down on the head. He has one underhook over on Varela's, and he looks for a judo toss over on the side, doesn't quite get it. Varela, Rocha just kind of turns his back on him, heads back on over to the center, but for a split second, looked like he kind of wanted to attack that arm. Very fun to see how those two gentlemen are faring thus far in. Varela, once again, looking for the underhooks here, seeing if he can find his timing, his way in. Achilles almost had a touch of that knee there, didn't quite get a hold of it, kind of signaling like he wants a snatch single. And some of these grips between the two of them, as they jostle back and forth, they're kind of coming out like a little bit of, one might call them like little jabs as they're going back and forth. So that's kind of fun to watch. I mean, Verella is somebody who always wants an aggressive dance partner here. It allows him to do some of his best work. And so even though he's not necessarily cooking at this second, you always get the impression that he can let loose and go insane at any given moment. So that is something that I'm trying to keep an eye on here, is because I think he does an excellent job of attacking you when you least expect it. There is an aggressive jumped pulled guard here by Achilles, who now may end up in north-south depending on how his flexibility works, because Verella, yep, he's trying to come through the back door on this one, lifting his legs, doesn't quite get anywhere from there. Verella checks one of the legs, doesn't get much from it. Now he's going to start to work from inside of one Achilles Rocha's guard, but it's an open guard, so it's going to be fairly easy. And here's the nice part. This is how you can tell your dad is Vagner, because he doesn't just make a frame off the face. It is clearly pushing off of the face. What's up, Kelvin? What's up, Jews? Good to see you guys. Thank you for watching along. My name is Rafa Esparza. I host a show called The Grappling Hour. If this is new to you, I totally get that, and I'm happy to have you joining us right now. And it says, this night is just fantastic. A lot going on. Dallas Cowboys playing. Boo. Meragoli fight. Nice, nice. Didn't know we had a Cowboys fan here. It's all right. I forgive you. You know not for what you do. I had somebody ask this the other day. They're like, Ref, what do you mean you don't like the Boston Red Sox? And I go, they're a Boston team, and I'm from Los Angeles. I don't need to explain myself. They're like, well, you hate the Yankees. They're a New York team, and I'm from Los Angeles. Of course I hate them. Almost some slip and slide action here between Verella and Achilles, as it's very strange to watch this back and forth, but Andy now starting to look for the back take here. Achilles is going to have to respect this. There was almost a triangle attempt from this position. Verella gives it up, just trying to see what he can get from this position. There's 3:18 left to go from here. Now, Varela is going to be very, very compact. You'll watch him slow things down and really start to get under the skin of one Achilles. So earlier this week, you did have Andy Varela expressing some excitement that they were going to stop doing some of the EBI overtime rules. I think some people get very upset when you can game that system and use it to your advantage. In this particular case, you're looking at Andy Varela now starting to cradle, try to pull him back, but he has that one grip and it is very, very strong. But in his intention, you really have to get the finish here because then they go to that overtime period. If you go to the overtime period, it's just more exhausting. So these are the moments that you have to make the most of. He has some back control with a kind of 3/4 guard from the back and not quite fully here, but now he's starting to pull to almost a full Nelson up against Achilles. This is problematic for Achilles. He's going to have to be very careful. It's going to put a lot of pressure on the neck. You're seeing him start to get a little nervous in this position. This is not something, oh, he's trying to give him the thumbs up, and I think Andy's trying to take that away from him as well. I was trying to allude to this earlier. If your father is Vagner Rocha, I think you get to the point where I think Wagner's done worse to his kids than what most people would do to them in jiu-jitsu. So I think that's a long way of saying they're well prepared to be in these very, very bad spots. So just trying to get our way through here. So yes, I appreciate you guys for sticking around with us and watching along. There could be a leg attack here. We are getting shorter and shorter on time. Now, Achilles is playing from up top. Verella, in that transition, did lose the position. And now Achilles is starting to work to see maybe if he can work a pass here. There's a little bit of a frame by Andy, but this is going to be very, very short time. So it'll be very interesting to see how he's able to pull this off with his back against the wall at this particular moment. So very, very excited and happy to have you guys joining us, as I have mentioned several times here before. This is a pleasure to have you guys, and we're going to make it fun for you guys. I promise you that because of how crazy this is. Achilles aptly working on a leg attack here. Verella not too concerned. With 54 seconds, you do get the impression this is kind of how the game may play out. I don't know that either of them are going to make a major mistake at this particular juncture, but you do get the sense that, yes, Achilles is only 17 years old. So when you're looking for somebody, a current competitor that has a lot of energy, you figure, yeah, Varella's older, but that is a game opponent to go ahead and continue try attacking here. There is a heel hook attempt, but there was not any pinch between the legs, which now just results in two of these gentlemen just pushing each other up against the edges of the mat. They return back on over to the center now. So this is going to be it. With 16 seconds left to go, we'll get our very first preview of what an overtime period is going to look like for this. I believe they're kind of calling it a hybrid-esque format. So keep in mind, that is what we are looking at here. And both these gentlemen kind of jostling back and forth for position, and we reach the end of regulation. So this to me is kind of when you see this, I don't know that I loved them going from 6 to 8 minutes for the undercard, if you would, or these matches that aren't quite their premier matches. There's a part of me that wonders, like, listen, if you are coming on UFC Fight Pass, I'm not sure we have 8 minutes to spare. And these are two very, very exciting individuals. So it's not like it's a bad matchup per se. It's just for the last 2 minutes, you got the sense, I don't think I'm going to see a submission here. So just some food for thoughts if we're coming up with regulation times and whatnot. So there is that. What's up, Cristiano? What is up, Hannah Cole? What is up, El De Santiago? Appreciate you guys for joining us. And what is up, Sound Defense Training Center? Thank you guys for being here. They're going over a couple of the highlights. And here's where I think things are interesting. You do give them some time to kind of go back and forth. And now we go to this 4-minute period of overtime, which is essentially just 4 extra minutes. So at this point, we're kind of borrowing from soccer in terms of what we're looking for here, which is a good thing if you like soccer. And if you're somebody who doesn't, it is what it is. Verella goes looking to pull guard here, but here's the problem. Now we're at points, and as much as the kid is looking for a guillotine, Andy Varela is kind of giving up the guillotine while the referee is just pleading for them to stop the position so he can center them back where nobody's going to go ahead and get hurt. So kind of starts them back in a neutral, and they go right back at it. 3 minutes and 27 seconds left to go in this period of overtime, which will decide it. And as you may know, if no points are scored, then we go to, I guess, judges' preference of some sort. So a first for many of us trying to get how this is all playing out. At least for this hybrid format, because like I said before, I thought that we were doing more just sub-only and EBI overtime. The weird part about the Fight Pass Invitational as well is before there were like tournaments that were involved in this, and now it doesn't really feel great to not have a tournament element in this particular thing. Now you're seeing kind of their straight up, let's see what it's like to match up people. Verella looking for an X guard, gets a sweep. Achilles, not wasting any time, comes up on it. The referee signals them back to the center of the mats, but Verella has a very good opportunity here to work from the back and start to weigh down on Achilles, who's kind of trying to dump him off and succeeds to a certain degree. Now there's a vague pass. I wouldn't really call it a pass, but there is an opportunity for Achilles to work from top. This is where shit gets dangerous. Like, combining the elements of sub-only and points feels weird, because there is an element, though Andy has been the aggressor, that Achilles, just from this top position, could potentially have this match won. So yeah, Andy is under duress here to get these submission attacks, which you would think would play, except now we're at a point where he does have to really, really come through on these points. And I don't think, I have the closed captioning over it, so I don't think that they're actually putting up the points that you're seeing here. Oh, no, you do. You do have a -1 from Andy. Oh, shit. That's going to be interesting. Varela shooting up a Darce. He loses the position in transition, and yeah, with just a very short amount of time, the referee's going to stop them right here. I think he wants to reset them, even though Andy's setting up a pretty good X guard. He is short on time, and with that negative, he really does need to come up and get some traditional points at this juncture. There is a 1:15 left to go. So with 75 seconds, the referee repositions them back over again. So this is an interesting strategy, if you're really thinking about it. Looking at the fact that you're able to push your opponent over to the sides allows a lot of re-engaged action, especially if you are looking like the aggressor or the person who has no negative points, because now you have 2 points to Andy's -1 point for this. Fascinating. I wonder if the negative has to do with like a stalling or maybe a pull of guard of some sort for Andy, but he is very much up against the back here. And that's the whole thing, is I don't necessarily think he is lost. He's had these back take opportunities and loses it, gets dumped down again. And I think with this, you may actually wonder if we're going to see more points awarded for the kid. It would have to clear the line for a pass, but he's so good at getting these neon bellies. Yeah, Varella's got to come up very quickly, and the referee's looking to kind of almost get involved as they almost get rushed on over. Thank God we have Paul Walker Hauser over on the side, making sure that nobody's going to fall off the edges there in the UFC hat. God bless. So it does look, unfortunately, here. What's up, El Champagne Poppy? What's up, Gabby? What's up, Loke? What's up, Elliot? Good to see you guys. It does look like we are seconds away from seeing Achilles Rocha get a win here over Andy Varela, which would be what I think many would consider a very, very prominent statement. Andy is hard to submit and hard to beat, but this is definitely a day. And here's the good news. Rocha is coming through very aggressively here, so there is that. He will end in mount, but that's not going to be enough time to actually get any points in that particular juncture. So a very odd hybrid rule set here. What's up, Texture Questioner? Good to see you guys. And your winner for your very first bout here on the UFC Fight Pass Invitational number 5, or the Cinco. Eek. Shout out to all the vegans in the chat, says Elliot. I can promise you this. I don't know that my demo appeals to many vegans. I think you're the guy I know. It's not a bad thing. It's just, I think I know my demo well. They're vaguely lazy. They always want free shit because they want to see the actual pay-per-view. And they're mouthy because I think, if they watch me, they're fairly mouthy. So there is that. So that is your first match of the evening here. What's up, McKinley Freeman? Good to see you, brother. Hey, McKinley, you're somebody who's in production. Look at this. They finally give me access to using this online for the Instagram. Granted, it's in the weird format, the 916 format. Don't love it, but I'll take it. It's a start. I hope that in the future that the Instagram producer live gives you more capabilities to do 16:9 format or a widescreen for you kids. But I'm a fan. It is nice to be able to have a higher quality go on the Instagram, and that makes me very, very happy. So it bodes well for the future of the going live, and it allows me to think maybe in the future I can do some more fun stuff specific for the Instagram lives. That the quality is now up to where I want it to be. So maybe we'll see. All right, well, nobody ended up doing much on that one, so there is not a toast, unfortunately. Normally, we do the toast. What's up, Anderson MMA? Toast to those who get finishes within regulation. That didn't happen here. They are already starting to transition to their next match. Hopefully, we can get things a little bit spicier in this one. You got Amanda Mazza versus Hannah Goldy. And, here's the nice part. You get all of these moments where the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, 10 different matchups. They do get the walkouts, which is nice. They kind of frame it like they would if the UFC fighters were walking out to the cage. And it says, it's sup, Angel. I don't know how to wave back. I mean, it's fine. You could just say wave in here. That's perfectly fine. Elliot, when we training again, sir? I need to get in some rounds. I'm about to eat Christmas shit, and that's gonna make me super fat. So let's get me in some decent shape. What's up, Kevin? See you out here. What's up, Marty? Oh man, Marty, I haven't seen you in a minute, brother. How are things going for you? I hope they are going well. Yeah, that's our very first match. It'll be interesting to see Maza and Goldie. That's coming up. And it says, "I need you in my life again." I think you're watching too many Hallmark Christmas movies because that looked like a line that was directly for it. I'll message you for some training. I said, please do, brother. I'm feeling extra special fat right now. What's up, Jake Watson? A very Merry Christmas to you. What's going on? Things are good. Oh, man, that's so great to hear. I always love catching up with our friends and seeing what else is new here. It says, I want to commentate this show one day. Can you get in line, kid? You're already commentating enough. But you did put up that you want to be on the UFC one day, and I think that you'll be commentating something on the UFC. I just don't know what it is. So, there is that. Well, we're in the middle of commercials, which feels very weird, but I'm having to get off previews for commercials for this. There we go. All right, we are ready to see our second match, Web MMA versus Fusion Excel Performance. That'll be very interesting to see how this one plays out. This is the 5 flying at you. And now we see the second preliminary one that says, well, that's a very nonchalant way of saying something very meaningful and nice. Yeah, dude. I can occasionally be nice. I just have my way of doing it. So, small feedback here. It is difficult to figure out the different corners here when you do have everybody wearing the Hunger Games uniform. So at the very least, do we have the anklets here? From a television perspective, putting on 2 people with black rash guards gives no individuality, UFC. But it also kind of limits our ability to get to know the individuals that we're just starting to see on the show. Now, granted, I think they probably figure you know who these people are, which great, but most people don't know who grapplers are. So if you just see them there, you go, okay, well, they're red, they're blue. And I'm looking for the anklet, and I don't see it quite yet, so maybe I'm just blind, but this is a smaller screen I am looking at tonight, so there is that. All right, we're starting off aggressively, looking for the grips. If I'm guessing here, I'm thinking that one of them is probably going to look for a little bit of an arm drag very, very shortly. Coming through on the side. Now you're going to watch on over this way. So Yeah, this is very difficult to do because even on the bracketing for their names, you see their gym affiliations almost as big as their names, and it says on the back of the rash guard, "Thank you for that." Yeah, I don't love that. Yeah, not at all. I think that's horrible. Thank you for pointing that out, though. I actually like what Flo did with the one red sleeve or the one blue sleeve for the Who's Next show. Yeah, I can get behind that. This is just, it looked like you accidentally left a paint strip that you didn't actually cover your body with, or you're just like, oh no, I dropped some paint. Now I'm a red person. So I think that's a little hard for me to get behind. Yeah, just do different rash guards. For the love of God, the UFC has money. And I get we're trying to do this on a shoestring budget because, streaming. Kids, you don't want to get into that debate. But if you're trying to do that, at the very least, put on a different color, a red color or whatever, a blue corner, highlights whatever it is you want to do. I know it can be done. And we're already here looking at a possible little arm. Looked like for an omoplata triangle, but it didn't quite happen. So instead, we're back in a position where a pass looks like it is, in theory, something that could happen here. There is some leg pummeling. That is what I wanted to see. Sticking right then and there. Yeah, you got the sense she was up to something, but she was launching her whole body, looking for that kind of surprise jump guard pass. And it says, did you hear GSP not able to speak English when Hannah walked out? No, I didn't. GSP was on the mic. Was an interesting idea. Whatever do you mean? GSP is legend, okay? So if you are watching this, you definitely want to hear what is inside of his head. He is going to commentate and let you know that Anna Goldie, she are very good. And Amanda Mazda, so much good from her too. I enjoy both these ladies. You're saying you're surprised that Hannah pulled guard. Sure. And it says, who's up right now? Well, yeah, Bryce, sorry, you're watching on the different one. This is Maza and Goldie. If you're watching on the other broadcasts, you can see there's a little insignia that we put over on the side. What's up, Eddie Pozos? By the way, in case you guys get the chance, go check out Eddie's shows. Eddie is a very, very funny human being that I saw portray a very, very good Paul Bearer out here recently at a very, very funny wrestling show. What's up, Tank Girl 10P? I think maybe at this point we want to just kind of see some action happening in terms of that. So that may be the reason why she wanted to pull guard. We did kind of start off a little bit on the hesitant side. So maybe she's just like, let's just stop pretending like we're going to make this 12-minute wrestling match. Is there heel hooks? I don't think so, dude. Ooh, this is promising though. No, but she looks like she's about to lose it. And there's a possibility this could finish. But I think for most people, they would lose this position, but it's slowly out of play. There we go. So there was just a moment on that. Did Aaron Wilson go yet? No, not yet. I think that heel hooks, given the fact that it is for usually some UFC fighters, if you would, or MMA fighters, I thought they tried to list that more like they didn't want to see heel hooks. But given the fact that, especially at the top of the card, you kind of have the best individuals at the game, it would be foolish to not have Helix for that rule set. And it says, excited for Aaron Wilson to go. I think he might be next. So, yes, if you are looking at it, Guzman Wilson is the next matchup that is happening. So, we do have branding over on the side on that. That'll be coming up very shortly. And again, we're looking at a really good opportunity here. There is an attack on the arm, and I do believe that is going to get the tap here. So we have our first finish of the evening, and rather effortless, I might say. So that was very, very cool to see. Compressor Larry, good to see you. I was just talking about you today, man. I hope you're doing well. Compressor Larry, one of the nicest human beings. Good pressure. Don't get underneath it. But an OG of the Grappling Hour days when we were doing stuff as verbal tap way back in the day and doing coverage. So nice to you. So Kevin, hey, by the way, in case you wanted to know, Kevin Beering is going to be on the show very, very soon. So you guys want to keep a lookout for that. And it says, got her with the good old one arm triangle armbar. Yes. Very difficult to pull off, but yes, Hannah Goldie is going to be your winner. And I believe that BMAC has to convince her to have a moment to talk. Let's hear what she has to say. Okay, I don't know that I'm going to hear that properly, but she's saying that she is tired at the moment. So let me just see. Pull guard and happens. Able to get the lock position out of a couple times. Do you feel that she was trying to pass? So I think she's giving credit to her team and saying, like, I train with a variety of different people who helped me get ready for this. And I really do have good armor. So once the armor, is that what she said? I don't think this closed captioning is probably not very accurate, but good to know nonetheless. But giving props to her teammates and giving some shout out to her fans. And of course, that would definitely be a very, very cool thing to see. If you are part of her family, to tune in and see that. And that interview is done. Damn. We do not get anything at all. If you aren't following Kevin Beering, you need to up and comer with Deadly Jiu-Jitsu. Absolutely. So there's some nice hugs and solid stuff for being only 24. That's really good to know. So that is already off to the races here. So my thanks to you guys for joining in this evening. Let me give you some updates. Coming up on Fight Pass, Combat Jiu-Jitsu, that is happening. Very excited for that. Fury Pro Grappling, I think that's on a day where I might be doing other stuff. But Combat Jiu-Jitsu, I'm actually out of town. I think they should be telling you that there's a Medusa happening as well. So there is that. A little rude. Not to be mentioning Love You, Raph. You're the man. Well, thank you very much, Jake. That's very nice of you to say. So that is what's coming up. I'll go ahead and change the insignia so that you guys know exactly what's coming up next. And that is going to be Guzman and Wilson. And Wilson definitely has a lot of love here on the show. He is a former guest, and it does seem like we have some folks who are in the comment section who are waiting for him going here. And it says Gabe De Los Santos is on the CJJ card. I did see that. And, it's unfortunate because I don't take many breaks. So that is one of the few times that I'll be traveling. Otherwise, Arizona, I like going to see our good friends over at Jay Pages. I would have potentially gone to cover that, but it's one of the few times I go to actually, see the family. So blah, blah, blah. I should go enjoy that. So, yep, unfortunately, I will not be able to cover that one. And I think this means we are now transitioning from the prelims. Does this now go to the main card? Because I think it just zeroed out on me. Uh-oh. Well, let's see how that's looking there. It says all good, brother. But yeah, I definitely wanted to go try and support the homies and the friends out that way. It's just, it is what it is. So I'm seeing this over on the Fight Pass. You know what's very funny is I tried putting on the Fight Pass app, if you would, or the site, that I wanted to watch this. And instead, it's showing me the Brandon McCatherine and TJ DeSantis show that they have together of just interviewing people. And I'm like, yo, wonderful programming. I don't want to watch that right now. How about we watch that at a different day, one time? So Aaron Wilson making his way on out. Yes. What's up, Jackson 821 MMA? Good to see you. Thank you guys for joining. My name is Rafa Esparza. As a reminder, we actually should do a toast to Hannah Goldie right now. We do toast to those who get finishes within regulation, but we also do toast to those who go out of their way to do nice things and like and share and subscribe on this show. So if you are one of those people who want to like, share, and subscribe onto this broadcast, I will give you a toast right here. Oh my goodness, I'm seeing here a nice little contact here. It says, can't believe I'm saying I prefer ADCC's off the mat nonsense to these constant resets because of the stage. So Subspectrum here. I think we are very much at an age where people are going to abuse this rule set, just like they're abusing the ADCC rule set. I'm a little mixed. I think this is still pretty amateur hour. And you know this better than I do, friend, because you're a little bit more plugged into the wrestling world. How do we keep wrestlers at the center of the mats, but all of us jiu-jitsu folk can't stay within the center of any parameter? How is that? It makes it so weird and simple that we can't really explain it in that detail of version. And I think it's going to get worse for ADCC. I think someone's actually going to get hurt on doing that. And I saw here, let me go back on over to our friend, Bryce, and it says, I was looking for comps on Smooth Comp, and I saw the ability to register for this card on there. You know, it's very funny. When I was looking up the information and the weights and all that sort of stuff, it had it on there, but I didn't know the context of what you were doing and why it was on there. It was just like, we'll sign up on Smooth Comp, which then begged the question, oh shit, did like Felipe Pena have to sign up for this? Or is this just where they tell us where the rules are? Or is this just, does it have a good like MailChimp program that just automatically mails all the competitors and lets them know all the logistics? Because those were the only reasons I could come up with seeing it right then and there. And it says $30 to register. Absolutely. So everybody here, please remind me to do a toast to Hannah Goldie for her finish from that last match, and we'll go ahead and do that. But yes, $30 to register. This is, by the way, my favorite comment of the night. Can I pin that? I think I can. Let's pin comment. Yep, that's what we just did for you guys. All right, and if you're just joining us over on any of the other broadcast streaming area, I very, very much appreciate it. And it says, Degenerate Dane says, Rida gonna eat, or Rida. I can't figure that out. And it says, agreed, Subspectrum. And it says, I can't wait to see Elisabeth Clay. Yeah, I was so surprised. In all the people that I've seen, for whatever reason, I didn't know that Elisabeth Clay was going to be on this one, but I'm very stoked to see that she is. And it says, bring back the Yama pit. I mean, we're close to that. I've been trying to play with some folks on figuring out what the right rule set is here and there. So there is that. All right. We have a pull of guard here from Cristian. Meanwhile, Aaron Wilson looking to establish some kind of pass. And I really want to get a better look. It feels like these are super Americana'd kind of shorts here from Aaron Wilson. So very much like this. Aaron is kind of a beast, man. You never want to sell this dude short. He's got a very, very strong technical side. I see him a lot with our friends over at Jay Pages. And there is a toe hold, and that was what I was kind of wondering. I mean, he really likes to shoot in a lot of these leg attacks, and he is somebody who's been in the kill or be killed mode set, similar to Andy Varela. So when you look at the different people who they have picked to be on these shows, it does make sense that you would see somebody like him on this particular broadcast, maybe working on a pass, has one underhook here. However, Cristian regards, now has a butterfly. Wilson opts to stand back up, now looking to do a little bit of a traditional pass, low on where he is, putting his head underneath. That's a very effective tool, and there are some frames being put by Cristian, but I like the pace that Aaron is already putting on in this very, very, very first 90 seconds of this match. So that is what we got going on. I'm going to keep an eye out for the comments, and I see a pull guard is a -1 point. Now, that is a -1 point if we get to overtime. Right now, we're in the sub-only portion of the show. I'm doing my best to try and make sense of this. But yes, we have a sub-only portion, and then we have a points portion. And the points portion seems very odd to tack on toward the end. So just so that you're aware, in case you're wondering, like, why no point? I don't know why no point. Little game of mercy as both the gentlemen stand back up, and Cristian uses that as an opportunity to kind of pull guard. Aaron may be in, thought for a split second he might have a guard pass here. Now working on front headlock, jumps his way like a cricket across the back, and now the gentlemen are back to their normal positions. Cristian playing from off of his back, and Aaron going side to side. Referee comes back over and repositions them. So if we were playing a drinking game, it would be if you have to get repositioned as a fighter, that we at home should be doing a take a drink, but I don't want to get any of you wasted on the beginning of a Monday. So I want to make sure that you guys get to work at a reasonable sobriety level, one might say. Aaron thought he could slide by here with that knee slice, not doing it. Both of them stand back up, go right back to the center, respawning almost at a perfect angle. Aaron looking for that underhook, goes to the hip, now has it high on the body, looking to swim it out, and yes, now we'll get a guard pass. Now, as a reminder, this means relatively nothing in terms of points, but is good for positioning in terms of, well, maybe now he's going to be able to get a submission from this position. So Aaron Wilson very much playing right in front of you guys. Kelvin, when are you guys coming on up from Systems to come play with us over at, well, I would say I would be there at New Ground, but I'm not going to be there, unfortunately. Next Sunday, I will be on vacation. So soon, you guys need to come on, make a journey, and come do some jiu-jitsu with your friends, slightly up a freeway and a half or two. Aaron Wilson opts to go to the other side, thinks that maybe he can flip on over, gets the leg trapped underneath, uses it to base, maybe getting in on a mount here. It looks like it's clean. I need to see if the other leg is in any kind of compromised danger at this position, but I think this mount might just be enough to register. Trying to isolate the arm, slowly moving it up. Yes, he does have one leg still trapped underneath. And it says, I wanted to see if you guys had an open mat during the last week. What do you mean during the last week? You haven't messaged me. How would you? Raph, I worked really hard to figure out if there was an open mat. Cool. Did you message me? Perhaps the easiest person in all of jiu-jitsu to message? No. Fake news. Get out of here. All right. Now you are seeing Aaron play from inside of Cristian's guard. And Cristian trying to keep a grip on this arm, kind of this bicep grip that if you can get to a butterfly, you do have a sweep. I think it might be hard to do that to Aaron Wilson. Remains to be seen at this particular juncture. It says, well, here we are. Yeah, of course, I know. You guys never make any efforts. So thus, I'm going to roast you on my show. Oh boy. All right. Well, we're back here, and it does look like Cristian from Gracie Barra, Texas, really wants to try and get this high guard used. Wouldn't be surprised if he's going to do the warm-up armbar attempts here because those folks definitely swing the legs very well. Ooh, slam number 1 from Aaron Wilson, who kind of gives a look to the referee like, can we do that here? Are we allowed to? Because I'll slam a bitch if I have to. Pretty sure Aaron's not above it. All right, 2:16 left to work. And for those who are unfamiliar, we then, if there is no submission in the submission only period, then go to a period of overtime where both of the gentlemen are now playing for points. So doing my best to try and make sure that weirdness is communicated here, but that is how that works. And Aaron Wilson trying to put on a lot of pressure from the inside of that guard. Might try to work the knee, push it out, get a little pressure on out. Maybe breaking open that guard, but it's a lot of time to play here. I do get the sense this kind of might be the viewpoint we're going to be looking at for the next 90 seconds. So, all right, here we are. An open guard. Look to go ahead and try and get a sweep. Aaron Wilson said, none of that, please. Stands up, re-engages in his own time and his own terms. Knee slice once again. Can't tell if he's fully passed. Not that it matters, but it could matter in approximately a minute and change if we end up going our way to a points portion. I do get the sense that Cristian is going to be able to pull him back into guard once again if he leaves himself too open. But Wilson doing an excellent job of pummeling the legs. Before, where he got caught, it was a problem. Here, this is that quarter mount, which you can make a lot of things happen. Starting to isolate it up. If you want to make something happen, you don't want to go to these stupid points overtime. We need to make a submission happen here. And he's trying. There is a mounted triangle, and the arm is under attack, and he does get the tap. So congratulations are in order to one Aaron Wilson, who under duress, when we thought it could get to that stalling, let's see some overtime, we end up getting a finish here. What is up, Maracua? What is up, Rico? What is up, Gifted Gabe Green? Friend of the show. It's good to see you, brother. Oh my goodness, we have so many friends who are showing up. I see a let's go here. That means we're going to do a toast to Aaron Wilson here in just a second. So give me just a moment, and I think we'll be able to put on So Aaron Wilson about to get some props here. I'm intrigued to hear what he is about to say. So there is that coming up. Hold for just a second, you guys. And let us hear what he has to say. Aaron says that he is blessed and he's very grateful to be here today. And he says that he feels great to be able to share his jiu-jitsu out on this stage. So I think they were just asking him about what did it feel like to be behind on those negative points. So I do think, I'm sorry here, I might have given you the wrong information a little bit earlier here, Dane. Yes, there was a negative point, but it feels like it's kind of worthless. Like there is no display of what those points are. My boy Aaron got that dog in hick. Him. Unfortunate typo at this point. But yeah, I get what you're saying here, dude. All right, let's catch up on some toasts. And my thanks to you guys who are watching along. It is a pleasure to have you. My name is Rafa Sparza. I host a show called The Grappling Hour. I hope that you watch it. You can go catch us in a number of different places. But Raf, where can I go? Well, let me tell you. Oh, let's not do that one. I'm going to kill that one. That is, you guys for sure cannot see that one on your screen. Oh, actually, you kind of can. It's hard to see it on this. So all my graphics are designed specific to the folks who watch it on the widescreen version or on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. So I do have some graphics here that I think you guys can see, but we're gonna do some ad mentions. Okay, so first and foremost, if you guys like this show, it would mean the world to me. Oh, we went straight to the show. Okay, we're going to switch back to this. Okay. If you guys like the show, check us out at... This is not animating. That's some bullshit that's happening right now. All right, I'm going to have to pull this back on. It's really pissing me off. This actually usually looks pretty. And it says, dude, are you going to bless up the stream link? Blink twice for yes. Let me tell you what I'm feeling about this quotation or this question that you present to me right now. A lot of people are cheap and don't want to pay for this. And that's not something I'm going to hear nor there for you. But I think you ask that in the best way possible. Because most people know that I'll be held accountable for whatever it is that I say. But you think, Raf, let's see some nonverbals, like you're a hostage and you're telling me to blink if I'm going to show this show. So I very sadly have to communicate with you that under no certain terms will I show this broadcast. Can't say this enough. It is mostly because people know me. Also, it's illegal. But also, it's going to kill my fucking show. Been doing the show for a while. We're gaining nice steam. However, I can give you the next best thing, which is play-by-play, which is free. So I'm not charging for this. I'm telling you what's happening. And I guess if you're really, really good, you can almost see what's happening in my glasses. Though I think I got the anti-reflection ones, if I'm being honest. Anyway, long story short, really, really clever way of asking. You're definitely smarter than most of the friends that we've had on this show. So I do give you props for that one. So cheers to you, sir. All right, let's see if this one works. You can catch us at the Grappling Hour on all major social media. So look at this. You can catch us at Grappling Hour on Instagram. So go ahead and find us over that way. If you're not following us yet, what's wrong with you? Go follow us. It means the world to us. We take your support. It really, really does make a difference. So thank you so much in advance for your love and your support. It does mean the world. And I'm just noticing here, I think my border is a little... my border was a little off today, so my apologies, guys. All right, what's up, Lima Alex? What's up, Samantha? What is up, everybody? We have to do toasts. I have to catch up on those, so my apologies. What's up, Zhao? Vagner, let's switch the branding here because we do have a new match on this. Let me see. Where's the overlay? Show the overlay with window. Boom. This is Vagner Rocha versus Silverio. Victor Silverio. Good to see him back on the competition stage. It's been a minute for me, at least that I've seen him. But while we're waiting, let's do a quick toast. This toast goes on out to Aaron Wilson, former guest of the show. It is good to see you thriving, sir. That was a very, very solid triangle armbar. And I got to tell you, man, I was a little worried. I wasn't sure if we were going to do a toast to you because we only toast those that get finishes. And it was close. It was close. But you came through. This goes out to you, friend. Maybe it's time you come back on the show and say what's up. In the meantime, I hope all is good, brother, and way to perform on a big stage. Cheers to you, friend. All right, we are at this match. There has been 20 seconds of stand-up, and Victor pulling down on Vagner. Very nice here with the collar tie. He goes to shoot in. Yeah, okay. I'm seeing what you guys are saying, and this is something I was saying a little bit earlier too. You would think like this is enough room for the canvas, right? Like this should be enough room. Maybe it's the fact that we at Jiu-Jitsu are not great at wrestling. It's probably that, right? Like that we just can't make this space look or work for us because there's plenty of space to get these takedowns. We just, we want to do our version of wrestling, which is mostly gliding over to the edge and then shooting in like holy hell to knock a bitch off the ledge. Like that's kind of our style of wrestling. And there's a reason why they don't do that in the Olympics, because they can actually wrestle. So, not our best moment here. For a split second, I thought that Victor, I thought this was a combat jiu-jitsu match. And I don't think that Vagner would ever have a problem with that. But there's a little bit of a kind of pull guard here. Victor works to regard, Vagner working to pass, addressing the legs, gets caught up very quickly with some De La Riva, now starting to use his head pressure to create some sort of balance, and we are off to the races on that. So that's the very, very beginnings of the match here. Vagner, ooh, a leg. Leg was availing itself, and that's going to come up for a sweep here for Victor, who is now playing inside a guard, and they're going to usher him back on over to the center of the mats. Yeah, that's so much space. I mean, I think the weird part is you get the sense that's normally where the cage would go, and I don't know if this is the particular part of the UFC where they do the exact fights. This might be another portion of the building. I'm just assuming it's where a cage normally goes. So you would think that's enough space for that to like work and be its own little designated area for grappling to happen. And for whatever reason, we can't follow the rules. So it is very confusing to see that being utilized here. Victor is now standing up. Vagner on the ground, looking for a tripod sweep here. Victor not having it. Going to come through on the side. He's very close to a pass. There's an excellent reframe guard here by one Vagner, who was able to keep it posted out. And let's not forget this, because this did come up a little bit earlier. Vagner has been proudly sporting the fact that he is now using performance enhancers. And I think his argument is, well, I'm old and I want to be able to use it. And I find that to be a very interesting version of it. I think there's kind of this pushback of whenever people are using some kind of performance enhancer now, it's like, yeah, what of it? Like, they're using it as inclusionary language, almost to say like, yeah, is there something against that? Do you have something against people who use performance enhancers? Because like, that's really wrong of you to say that about somebody who uses performance enhancers. And you go, what? How is this the language now? We've come a long way on it. Everybody's doing this. All right, Vagner's doing what he does best and is talking to the ref to let him know what's going on. And they're not quite at the ledge. Victor's trying to work on a sweep. They've kind of come up back and forth between here on the two. So anyway, all this to say, Vagner's participation on this particular event does beg the question, they're probably not testing. Yeah, we're pretty not tested on this, right? So there is that. All right, pressure here, 3:55 left to go. And I mean, the other opposite question here is, if you're his opponent, I'm not saying I know the particulars for Victor Silverio, so I don't know if he does or does not. This is not a declaration. And Vagner coming through trying to use the mouth cup technique that we've seen him use to great effect when he is controlling from the back, but using it from the front side when you quite haven't passed guard, it can have mitigating effects, if only as usually like a distraction. Vagner working on a pass here, still putting a good amount of pressure, cup in the back of the elbow. Victor's reframing, though, quite good. There's 3:11 to go in this particular match, and Vagner getting pushed back on out in this way. All right, what's up, Grayson? Good to see you, kid. If you guys enjoy this broadcast, be sure to give us a like and a subscribe. We have very many different formats you can give us some love on. One of which is, if you like us and you're old, you can go to Facebook. Still a thing. We're at Grappling Hour, /Grappling Hour. Always means a lot when you guys find ways to support us, and I very much appreciate you guys. So /Grappling Hour for more fun, or if you just want to see a different version of this, especially if you're watching the Instagram, you can see it on different programming and format files. This one in particular is very interesting. Vagner does have a pass here, using the knee to kind of push him up. Looked like he wanted to take the back here. And Victor Silverio looking at a leg attack here. I was trying to see if it's a heel hook. Vagner now feigning a yawn. But I guess the nice part about feigning the yawn is if he did that, that he would be able to get the stem cells to go ahead and fix it up. So I think there's kind of a reason behind that. What's up, Tony Lopez? That's very funny. I see Tone, and it makes me think of Rafael Sadiq. So it took me a second here. Problem being, Victor Silverio doesn't really have much to go off of here. It's enough to be distracting, and if I'm him, I'm thinking you either want to come up and attack and play up top, or you want to go to guard. And Vagner looks inconvenienced. Like they have to push them back here for a second. What's up? Not much, man. Just watching him some UFC Fight Pass Invitational number 5. A missed branding opportunity, one might say. Tripod sweep. He's attacking the leg. Probably not going to get it. Vagner's TRT legs, keeping him pretty safe here now, just cupping around the back of the head. That's a very decent Muay Thai clinch that you might have. Victor Silverio using the legs here. Now, here's the issue. I think we should be able to vote for which matches we want to be in overtime. I don't particularly want to see this one in overtime. I'm just in a space where I'm like, listen, guys, I think 8 minutes is perfectly fine. Because if nothing happened in the 8 minutes, why do we want to press on for another 4, where it's very likely nothing is going to happen in those 4 minutes either? So, just saying, from a preference standpoint, I think we're good. But many of you could be tuning in, could be fans of Vagner, could be fans of Victor Silverio. Maybe you want your fairness in there. I'm just saying, if you're looking at TV time, 15 minutes is a lot of time in TV language. So, just saying. All right, there's 32 seconds, so everybody hold on tight for Points Palooza. We go from submission-only format to points. And while we're doing that, if you guys want to know where else you could support us, you can go on over to Twitch. Yes, Grappling Hour is on Twitch. We have a lot of different broadcast nonsense that happens on all the major broadcast channels, but Twitch is going to be something I think we're going to try and experiment very soon with. So if you guys want to follow us at Grappling Hour, I think you'll be able to see some very fun stuff that we have in store for you guys in the very near future. And we do hit the time expiration. So, okay, great. So what's weird is in that first match when they did the overtime, there was like a weird 90-second period where they went over the corners, and that was with Vagner's son. So I don't understand why we went directly to overtime. I think that's good. We should have done that in the first round, but I don't know why we didn't do that here. All right, so Victor Silverio already has a negative on his side. Is that what carries over? Okay, now it maybe kind of makes more sense. No, he has a second negative point. They just figured, fuck it, we forgot one. So maybe I'm just drunk here at this point, but I thought I saw GSP was supposed to be commentating this, and it looked like he was there for the opening sequence, but is probably doing some gymnastics in the back. Can't be bothered. And, you know, to his credit, maybe GSP is like, you know what, guys? GSP has to go. He places to be. This is a very bad place for GSP to be. Oh, you know what? GSP left his oven on. So GSP has to go. This is a very, very generous position that is being gift wrapped back on over to Vagner here, who's looking for the hooks and keeping good balance, though. Victor is in trouble here, not just from the points perspective, but this is Vagner's best area of attack. Vagner has one arm underneath. Victor really is under the gun here to make something happen here. What's up, Romario? Vagner may be looking for a finish. He's looking almost for that kind of Cobra clutch, kind of camel clutch finish here. Lots of pressure on the lower back, and he is high. Victor Silverio very much in trouble here, and I think he's going to start to isolate the arm. He can't quite get it in. I mean, Victor is burrowing his face into that mat to try and avoid getting brought back up, and Vagner is going to get the tap finish here just from the amount of pressure that is afforded in that position. Vagner goes over, gives him a hug, and that is the end of that match. So, there you have it. In overtime, you do get a finish, which, I'll be honest, 10 minutes, too long. But you did get a finish, so there is that. But yeah, 10 minutes was too long for that match. So there you have it. Let's catch up on a few things. I want to go ahead and give a cheers on over to Hannah Goldie. So this toast goes on over to Hannah. Congratulations on a hell of a finish. It was really fun to watch. You did that so effortlessly. Like, I was looking at it the entire time wondering how I would be able to do something in a similar position. You did it. You were super happy, super smiley, and gave a great post interview. Cheers to you for an excellent finish. Very much enjoyed your jiu-jitsu here today. Congrats. All right. And if you guys want to get a toast as well, we are doing our best to keep an eye out for those who give us a like and a share and a subscribe. And let's just put it up right now. If you guys want to give us a subscribe, you could go on over to YouTube. And on YouTube, you can actually follow and subscribe. Get the notifications as well. It means the world to us. I am doing my best to make sure I am keeping on there. We already gave a toast to one new subscriber here tonight, and I'm happy to do them for all of you guys. We give toasts just like you would if you would have gotten a finish in a match. So please, please feel free to join us in on that. And because I'm here this whole night, do me a solid. Throw me your comments, throw me your concerns, throw me your hints, allegations, all of that good stuff, because we still have matches to go. We're not even halfway done yet. Just to let you guys know, that is how much we still have left up. To the point where I think they're previewing Nicky Ryan right now, although I don't believe he is up next. I thought it was actually going to be Monteiro versus Clay. So keep a lookout for that. They're just telling you, hey, you didn't get Gordon, but we got another Ryan dude here. What's up, Vicente? Good to see you. Hope all is well with you. Fight Pass Invitational 5. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Jonnatas Gracie is getting ready over on the opposite side mats. Which is great, because what was I watching recently? Was it? I think it was Who's Number One, where they had security cam like footage. And it just looked so bad. It just looked like you were looking at somebody's ring cam. And I just thought it was so amateur. So looks like they'll be paying tribute to the 30 greatest UFC individuals, the all-time roster. So that's cool. Very nice to see. Crazy to think this is 30 years plus old. I just remember as a kid being like, I don't think the UFC is for me. I'm going to stick with pro wrestling. People are gouging each other in eyes. Micah, you're coming out here to say, let's go Clay. Absolutely. You have been waiting ever so patiently for this, I can tell. Do you train with Elisabeth? Are you just a fan? And if so, how long have you been a fan of Elisabeth Clay? Because I've very much appreciated her for years, and I've tried to get her on the show for whatever reason, we haven't connected or anything like that, but I'm very much in appreciation to what she does. I want to say we've been same place at the same time and been friendly with each other. It's just she is one of those people that I would love to see and bring onto the show if we can. I used to train where she trained. That's good to know. That's really, really cool. But when we've been at the same place, same time, it was just very easy, very chill. She seemed like such a nice person. And I always try to, give people their space whenever they're competing. But it's not for lack of wanting her to be on the show. I'll tell you that much for sure. All right. So she makes the walkout first. We're waiting on her opponent. That is going to be Monteiro. And she'll be making her way on out up next. But Elisabeth Clay is laser focused right now. Like, she is on her side of that mat. Just eyes dialed in, ready. And I have to say, Monteiro's team definitely gives her space. They let her walk out. I like that. I like when people go, you know what? You're the star. We're going to let you walk out. And then we'll make our entrance. Like, that is a fairly dope way to conduct yourself. So, stoked to see that. Lots of bouncing around, getting loose, staying loose. And we are now there. And, I have to say, the lighting that we have for this, it does look solid. It does make it pop. Makes me very happy to be watching this event. So, we already know who Mike is going for. If you guys want to go ahead and tell us who you're going for in the comment section, we'll go ahead and take it. But Luiza, Monteiro versus Elisabeth Clay. That is coming up right now. Thank you for joining. My name is Rafa Sparza. I host a show called The Grappling Hour, and you are watching our fight companion for the UFC Fight Pass Invitational Cinco. I should have put that in my branding now that I think about it. So I can see how they probably forgot to do that. But here we are. Very excited for this one. And I'm glad that you guys pointed out earlier in this broadcast where they keep the red and blue portions for the matches. Because if I didn't see that, I probably would have been entirely blind. Or it would have been more than halfway that I would have gotten it. But yeah, if you want to see which corner is which, you have to look at the back of the rash guard, and there's just a weird stripe. Like the type of stripe that the Predator would put just to let you know I stole your soul or something to that effect. What's up, Raphael? How do we get so many Raphaels on the show? I don't ever get that. We get so many Raphaels that just randomly show up in the broadcast. But just as long as you know I'm number one Raphael on the broadcast, we're good. If you leave, it only proves my point. So there is that. Welcome to the show when we're off to the races. 8 minutes on the clock, and we are already getting exchanges on the hands. Looks for an arm drag very, very loosely from Elisabeth right here. Gets for a grip on the back of the neck. Doesn't quite hold it. Now to a game of mercy. Both of them pushing with their foreheads to get even just an inch. It's always funny because like the look that I get from Elisabeth Clay is like somebody that I go, damn. Just from looks alone, she looks like she could have been an MMA fighter. So, Micah, you could tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe she does have an MMA fight or 2 or 5 that I don't know about, but she definitely has that approach. Elisabeth Clay pulls guard and kind of gets pushed around by her opponent, who looks like she wants to send her into the VIP first section of the house. And this is interesting because if you're Elisabeth, it is a little bit of a gamble, but you kind of know, like, you probably feel pretty comfortable with your leg lock attack game. So you figure that's a strategic advantage. Now they get put back to the center. She gets a few seconds to kind of recalibrate. And you get Luiza, who's going to be able to play from up top. And I think she is more than welcoming to that. Having said that, I don't know if that means we're at a negative point, which then carries over to the overtime. Because reasons. I think what they want to have is some kind of punishment that stays with people. So like maybe during the sub-only section, it's not something that affects you, but when you do get to the overtime, it's something that you then have to overcome, so it takes it into account. Having said all that, boring. So there is that. Hey, listen, we're still in our infancy of figuring out how to make this thing entertaining. So there's definitely going to be a lot of trial and error in figuring out, like, does this work for you? Because we don't know. Toe hold here by Luiza, who in the transition may find herself in some problems for her own. This is always a great area to see Elisabeth play from. And I'm looking here now that I see it from this better angle. I don't see her in full danger. Looks like Elisabeth Clay may have to recalibrate here entirely. She brings the opposite leg over, kind of inverts around, and Luiza's going to use that as an opportunity to continue to pass. Pushing down on the opposite side leg, I think she'll transition to a knee staple, which she does. Very nice. She still has one underhook while Elisabeth is trying to grab out for a grip underneath, and now sits back for a leg. This is a little bit of a shootout here. Luiza maybe slightly ahead, but Elisabeth doesn't give a fuck, letting her do her work from this position. Yeah, it looks like Luiza is playing a very similar but different game than Elisabeth was doing just moments before, which was, let me see if I can surprise you with this and make something of this position. And Elisabeth just not concerned, not showing any sort of remorse, not showing any sort of any weakness at this moment. What's up, Ronaru Photography? I just butchered that, whatever that is. What's up, KK Condon? And there's a heel hook. I think this looks pretty good. Luiza is pushing off the knee. She's trying to get it back. This is a good start, though. It could be pushed off, but Elisabeth Clay, excellent regrip, and she does get the tap. What a moment. Wow. It's so funny. She 100% could have lost that position, but stayed calm, reversed that grip, and basically climbed back and kind of got her arms folded. So many people make the mistake when they are re-chambering that, myself included, by the way, of just not maintaining a grip when somebody's trying to get the knee line pushed out. So when they press down on those legs, they keep it locked in to a certain degree. The way that you can maintain it is not just to pass it, but not just trying to contain it, but it's like you're essentially folding your arms over it. Very, very, oof, man, what a great thing to see. Let's see what she has to say with Brandon and Catherine. And Elisabeth is giving her props and saying, like, listen, I know she has a lot of toe holds and knee bars, but I wasn't surprised by it. Yeah. So she was saying, this is the first time I've done this particular rule set, so I want to make sure I just wasn't going to get a penalty. Let's do this. So Elisabeth Clay, we're going to do a toast to her. She got to finish within regulation, made it look easy. Here we go. But let me go and get this branding off real quick. All right, this toast goes on out to Elisabeth Clay. Elisabeth Clay, woo! What a finish. I want to admit this right now. I would have 100% lost that footlock when I was trying to rechamber it. But you stayed calm. You knew that she had weapons. You were respectful of that, but you were so calm and precise in your way to finish that. And I have to give you all the credit in the world. Here's what I'm going to tell you. We've been trying to book you on this show for years. I want you to come on the show. I want to give you your props in virtual person. And I want to be able to tell you you're awesome. So I would love it if you come on the show. I think it's time. And if not, I totally understand. But, I'll be a little sad. Let's be real. In the meantime, cheers to you. Congratulations on an excellent performance at the UFC Fight Pass number 5. Cheers. All right, the hits keep coming. We got a Gracie coming up right now. And we also have a Ryan. So this, my friends, is going to put us at the halfway point. Which is weird because I thought we had a Victor Hugo versus Big Dan match. And I'll have to look at the particulars. Yeah, I thought that was the match we were supposed to see next. Is what it is. Instead, we're getting something different. So we're getting Ryan and we're getting Gracie. So stay tuned for that. That is actually happening right now. So this is the nice part. The pace on this show is boom. And I do have to say that is the nice thing about tuning in to these UFC things. They don't have much time for you. They're literally just like, you know what? What's your name? Get out there. Hey, you, fuckface, get out there. Oh, did you win? And you're so excited? That's so great to see. Get the fuck off my stage. So I do appreciate that as a producer myself. So there is that. But you got Gracie making his way on out first. Nicky Ryan about to make his walk on out. If you guys can do me a solid and you're watching along in the comment section, see if you can find if Victor Hugo and Dan is canceled. Maybe it's just a little bit later. I do find it odd that they would put this positioning like this because I just had a different order that I got from a website. But you know what? The internet lies. So there is that. I did forget that major component that I was talking about here. Well, let me see. Let me go through the order here and see if I am completely batshit. So I'm looking at this. I see Big Dan. It says the Giants are on wait. Yeah, I don't know. That's just very odd. So, Nicky Ryan, uh-oh. So, I think right now, give me just a second here, folks. In case you were wondering, the stream did just have a slight hiccup. You are seeing a paused scene. So, we're going to go on over to the FaceTime HD. So now you guys are going to see me in lower depth quality while I fix this. My apologies to you guys. But this is how you can tell real life production things come up. So, oh God, I'm seeing how bad that looks. What's up, Danny M, California? Good to see you guys. All right, we should be back up into the races here at this point. So my apologies for the bad quality. Whatever happened, I guess my camera just turned off here for a slight second, but we are back with the H quality back there. So all good. That's something I'll look at a little bit later tonight to see if we can fix. But you got Gracie, you got Nicky Ryan making his return here. But it's very interesting to see what he's doing. Like, what's up, Eric? You got Low Life joining us. And much, much more. If you guys give us a like, share, and a comment, and a follow, and a subscribe, any one of those, we will give you a toast on air, just like we do those who get finishes within regulation. We just did one for Elisabeth Clay, who looks great. And these shorts from Nicky Ryan, they look like the basketball version of Muay Thai shorts. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going with on that one. All right. You here are going to see 8 minutes of regulation matchups, and I'm going to do a quick look at the rules just to make sure. Yeah, 8 minutes, and then that's I think that's what it is. Maybe they moved Big Dan and Victor because that would leave the rest of the matches as absolute matches, and I think it might be easier to explain that they have 10 minutes with 5 minutes of OT as opposed to, hey, here's one, even though Nicky Ryan is a bigger name than those guys. Here we go. Nicky Ryan, already look it up. Thought for a split second he might be with a choke and is not quite there. Gracie's going to be looking to pass Ryan. Thought for a second of scooping underneath for the leg. Doesn't quite get it. In advance, tries to stand back up, and Gracie's staying right on him, looking to shuffle around, and they're right back to their usual positioning. So that is how we're starting this match. Very, very interesting to see how that's played. And I would like to point this out. We have gotten through a number of matches. So we have gotten through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is now the 6th match in a period of just under an hour and 32. That's not too bad. All things considered, that we had a couple go to overtime. Gracie is very aggressive in this one today, so credit to him. Nicky does have that scoop underneath the leg, and Gracie doing an excellent job of pushing down on Nicky Ryan's legs to try and make sure that he doesn't get any counterbalance off. Pushes it out. I don't know that's exactly what he would have loved to have done, but yet they're back up, and the referee's going to push them back on over to the center. Is it just that audiences fucking ruin the sport of grappling? Is it just that having an audience makes it so that you can't have boundaries? Like, do we just need wall mats and people to be looking from a pit above? It's just so strange to see it like this, where you get a sense of, what are we doing here? Grip on the side, one on the, ooh! That's one of those foot sweeps from Gracie that you look at and you go, that is just questionably a low kick, dude. Jostling for position, referee keeping a steady eye on both the gentlemen. Nicky Ryan got a shove off on the head, but Gracie grits through, gets a takedown. No points here in the sub-only portion, but he is staying very heavy on Nicky. And you're going to see him, if he goes very slowly, he'll be able to secure this pass. He just needs to get a staple here to ensure its degree of accuracy. There's a little bit of a body lock, but Nicky was trying to push off on the head, create some kind of space between the two. What's up, Tigre? 10? Good to see you. You're just joining us as we are watching Nicky Ryan work from underneath. This is an unusual position. We don't see too many people do this to Nicky Ryan. But Jonnatas Gracie doing an excellent job thus far in. Is Gordon commentating? That's a great question. Let's find out. Maybe. Yeah, he is commentating on that one. So there you have it. Which is unfortunate because we're really here for the GSP. But yeah, I guess I really didn't hear Gordon throughout the other. Well, you know what? We're not listening to any of these, so I don't know who's commentating and saying what. But we did just see initially at some points throughout the matches, it looked like it was just BMAC and TJ. So not quite sure exactly how that roster is going through this evening. Jonnatas is still continuing to put a lot of pressure on Nicky, but at this juncture, Nicky's still doing an excellent job of regarding all the way throughout this. Jonnatas now has grip underneath kind of the knee of Nicky Ryan, maybe understanding that he's had to overcome some surgeries and keeping a good balance on it helps him. Woo! Nicky Ryan tried to do a technical stand-up, and Jonnatas Gracie just said nope. That's a great knee staple here if Jonnatas Gracie can find his way across. So now it's almost like double backing, trying to find the back exposure. It's easier said than done here. By the way, is fish sticks in reference to the Kanye West episode of South Park? Because it's like one and the same to me. I can't do one without the other. Excellent leg pummeling here by Jonnatas Gracie. He does get kind of stuck in this position. Nicky's doing an excellent job of regarding. Almost has him elevated entirely as if to kind of give the playbook here. It does look like maybe he wants to attack Gracie's leg. So there is that happening over on that side. We go up to the top camera up above on the crane shot. And yeah, Nicky's trying to push him off. I think he figures that technical stand-up is one you really got to launch him off before you go to stand up again. Like, even if he's thinking about it, he's had enough information these last couple times to realize not super easy to get that. So there you have it. I maybe thought for a split second of getting that push. Jonnatas has an underhook on the leg, whips it across. Now may have an opportunity to kind of look for attack in the back here. He has to be very cautious. And the referee looked like he was about to stop it, but it was mid-action. And in doing so, Nicky Ryan does come up, and these two are just clawing at each other like they are at a zoo at the moment. Jesus. Very interesting back and forth between these two gentlemen at this juncture. And now you're getting both of them standing right back up and going back to a little bit of a wrestling game. Jonnatas with a single leg here. Nicky bouncing up, bouncing up. He can't quite push away. This has been the issue that he's had when he stood up with Jonnatas Gracie, is that every time he has tried to get some space away, Jonnatas has stayed very contained, very tight, and very, very technical. So if that's the case, he tries to block out that other leg, doesn't quite do it. But in absence of getting a takedown, you do see a lot of just straight out shoving. It seems to be our go-to. It's like, you know what? I can't take you down. Fuck you then. I'm going to push the shit out of you, you dick. So take that. Because that kind of is where we're at. So just a few more seconds here. It's 60 before we go to overtime. And just so you're aware, this overtime is going to be 4 minutes, but the absolutes will be 10-minute rounds with 5-minute over period times. So there is that. I guess if you're a betting person, you're kind of getting in that space of thinking, yeah, you probably need to get that takedown at this point. And for those of you joining us right now, thank you so much for watching along with us. This is Gracie. This is Ryan. And we are about to see ourselves likely going into overtime just here in a few seconds. Nicky, excellent regarding throughout. One of the few times we saw him really, really have to struggle with some pressure in a bit. Even his match against friend of the show, Elijah, at ADCC, I didn't think he looked that depleted. This is one where you definitely see him a little bit more contained. And Nicky Ryan is very much a person that if you don't contain will rip off your leg. So it is something that you have to adjust here. Nicky Ryan walking over to his side. So I think you can opt to get some water and you have a break. Maybe it was just that Vagner and Victor Silverio went straight into it and said, fuck that extra time. Which again, from a TV perspective, I do like. That's what it was. He was trying to show up that choke at the very beginning. Doesn't quite get it. Now looking to attack the legs. Has to stand back up. So they're showing the replays of these things. I'm intrigued to hear how this is going to play. But yeah, having Gordon do commentary for a brother that by all means is at least vaguely estranged, but on a different team, I guess is the easiest way to put it. So this is interesting. Both of these gentlemen have -1 points. Which is weird because I figure if you're Jonnatas Gracie, you're kind of thinking like, dude, this sub only shit sucks. Like I was doing pressure. I kind of had passes on the kid. And now we're both at -1 points. Fuck this. I'm going straight into wrestling. He's back at a single leg. And one of the things that people will say about Nicky Ryan, especially in the past, was, what does his gas tank look like? And I think people have said that more in reference to the idea that, yeah, he's had to come back from some surgeries, but that does make a significant factor when you are this close in a match. So Jonnatas sticking very much on this single leg. He's been here for about a good 30 seconds. My back would be flared and probably give up at this point, but I like the re-switching of these grips. Nicky just for a split second looked like maybe utilizing the grips underneath to try to shake him off. Doesn't quite get him here. Now the two of them back and forth jostling. There's 3:14 left to go in this period of overtime. Gracie now looking for an underhook, digging quite aggressively. One thing that's been a little unsung hero here. Ooh, that would have been a good moment for Nicky if you could have re-chambered that. Because Jonnatas is just as tired as Nicky here. So if you ever see somebody kind of slide by you like that, ooh, you definitely want to try and take advantage of it because Jonnatas just needs a second to catch his breath. But in those moments, I feel like those are those throw-by moments that you really have to contain. Jonnatas again on that single leg. He's trying to cup the back here. I think he's going to try and force this, and he does. Excellent job here on the takedown. Nicky trying to get back up, but I think he looks pretty exhausted in this position. I don't blame him. I also worry about his leg. Just based on that position, it does look fairly terrible to take, and that is going to get takedown points, which will then... Hold on. So you do have to get out of the reservoir, so you have to get from the negative 2 points. So that's going to be... What the fuck? They can't figure out how many points that is. Jesus Christ. It went from like -1 to 4 to 3. So we're at 3. 3 points. It is a 3 to -2 here. The advantage going to Gracie. It's a pretty significant takedown because even if he contains Nicky Ryan, and he's still in a good spot, even if he lets Nicky Ryan back up, the burden is on Nicky Ryan, who could potentially get more stalling calls. And that could be problematic. And even if Jonnatas Gracie gets another stalling call and gets a negative point, I still think he is relatively safe in terms of points. So a submission is what Nicky Ryan needs at this juncture. And he only is going to have about 90 seconds coming up here in just a moment. So the pressure is very much on the young upstart. Yep, 90 seconds starting now. Let's see what he's able to do under duress. But this is a very interesting back and forth match between these two gentlemen, and now they reversed it. Now he's just down to 1, so I can't tell if he got I don't think he got a negative point. I think they just recalibrated the points. The fuck is this? That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, well, we got the takedown, so that should be what, probably 2, right? And I didn't necessarily see a secured pass. I don't know. I'll have to go back and kind of rechamber all of those numbers a little bit later. That's a great duck under attempt here by Nicky Ryan. I like the sit out that he was attempting to do here, and didn't quite pay off there. But now we're at 0. So is he getting stalling calls? Like, this is fucking wild. And if you're him, we were talking about this earlier. So if you do get -1 point, let's say, does the next time they give you an infraction, do you get a -2? Because at that point, you could have a tied score game here. But if you're Jonnatas Gracie, you probably figure you have those -2 to spare, so that even if it was a tied game, you essentially are there. Oh, he got another fucking deduction, so it could go to a negative tie position. There's 10 seconds left to go, so it wasn't out of the realm of possibility. The referee sends them back to the center of the mat. Okay, let's do this. Let's try and think of other sports where you can get negative points. Because to me, it seems weird from an audience perspective to have negative points and explain what the fuck that means. And I see a comment here that says, Victor Rocha says, how can I watch? You can go on over to Fight Pass, or if you just want to get the play-by-play and not spend a dime, you can just listen to me, because this is free. So there is that. Oh boy, what a moment here. I mean, Nicky Ryan definitely was in it. It's just, it looked exhausting. That's 12 minutes of action, and Jonnatas Gracie pulling up a big win here against the young prodigy. We'll hear what he has to say here in just a second. And I'm waiting to see if they're going to do an interview here. I think sometimes if they get overtime wins, the thought with the production is, yeah, I think they just go straight to the next one. So I think Jonnatas Gracie was hoping for his moment to chat, but they are already at the packaging for what's next. Okay, so they're at an interview with Fowler, so we'll go ahead and mute this right now because Mason's boring. Just kidding. He's a friend of the show. We can say that about him. Even if you tag him in this, you would know. Be like, what did Raph say about me? I'm boring? Yeah, kind of am. Yeah, got me. All right, so they're basically asking Mason Fowler, you know, all these conversations always center around Gordon. So it's like, what are you going to do? Gordon's not here. Well, I got another opponent. That's what happens. Okay. But, like, have you thought about Gordon since?
Have you like sent him a text? Like, what's he up to now? Now here's the weird part. You're doing this package, and in theory, we should be seeing either Hugo versus Big Dan, unless that got canceled, or we're going to Fowler and Haisam. And Haisam coming in last minute to, replace, and that's a fucking hard thing to replace, man. Like trying to, they're two very, very different opponents. So the nice part is for Mason, he's very much game for whatever you're throwing at him. So I very much appreciate him being back here. But anyway, my friends, it is good to see you guys, and I appreciate you for being here while you're here. If you want to do us a solid, and I hope that you do, you can support us in a number of different ways. For example, if you want to support the show, did you know that we're on Twitter? I'm not calling it that. It's too dumb. And maybe just for a little while, because who knows what the fuck somebody's going to do with Twitter when they keep talking. That dude does not shut up, and it is very, very funny to us. What's up, Alma? So you can check us out on Twitter for the time being at Grappling Hour. And there's another one you can check us out at, what is it? Oh, it's right across my face. You can check us out at Threads if you use that. Some of you do, some of you don't. And I love the jokes that say that nobody uses Threads, but the numbers say differently. There's a handful of you that really do use it and use it well. So if you guys follow us, either of those talking ones, Threads, Twitter, whatever it is, feel free to get in contact with us. It does mean a lot to us if you guys support us. And as a reminder, if you guys haven't followed us on our YouTube page, we are doing our best to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So that means we got like 3 weeks to make this happen, and I would love to get 1,000. We're currently at like 895, I want to say. So we're close, and it could conceivably happen, but it only happens with support and love from people like you. And yes, we do get Victor Hugo versus Big Dan. And I'll say this. You'll notice on our branding over here, we have put up Hugo versus Big Dan. Just because, do you really know Big Dan as anything other than Big Dan? Like, it's a fairly boring nickname that they gave him, so I just kind of feel like that's the insignia we're going to go with as well. It just feels like we ran out of nicknames for him. So, yeah, that's going to be what I'm going with here, guys. Sorry. You guys can tell me differently, but we appreciate you guys for joining along with us and for watching along and et cetera, et cetera. So yes, please go support us. Give us some love on all of those different broadcast channels. It does make a significant difference. I kid you not. It always makes us very happy when we look up and see like, oh shit, people are following us. Oh my God, that's so cool. So I'm keeping an eye out for anybody who has recently given us some love here. Oh, Fish Sticks came through. Holy shit, I just saw that you subscribed. Was it the Kanye thing? You didn't tell me in the comment section. So I'm just going to go ahead and give a toast here. This toast goes on out to Fish Sticks. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. And not a lot of people know this, but I think that you should put it more and more on record. Fish Sticks is the person who came up with this rule set. Yeah, so if you guys have any issues with like sub only to points, to negative points, to like flip a coin, it's on Fish Sticks. So cheers to him. And cheers to you, sir. Again, drink of the show. Ooh, I still have more left. Yes. Yo, I legit thought I was out. Like I still had some in reserve, but I just realized right now there's still money left on the table, one might say. So, Fish Sticks, thank you so much for supporting the show. And if you guys want one of those toasts, just like we gave to him, all you have to do, go on over, give us a subscribe over on our YouTube channel. I kid you not, makes a huge difference. And be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and follow button because you guys want to be up on the latest whenever we do important shit. And you want to be notified because we have a whole bunch of really good interviews that are coming up very, very shortly. So I hope that you guys are there. What's up, Amazing Adrian? My name is Rafa Sparzo. I should add Amazing to it. Ooh. Wow. That's really funny. Mike Russell doing some excellent investigative journalism that has to do with strip clubs as per the Twitter. So it's so funny. Like, that's the one thing that I saw in like the 2 seconds I have to look down and see what's going on there. It's like, oh shit. Yeah, no, he's paying attention to that. I want to say, though, that Gordon is probably not commentating this because I think he would probably be giving like coaching advice to Big Dan on this one. Yeah, I'm not going to wait. Well, we'll just go ahead and forge ahead on that. But I'm just going to assume that Gordon is not doing commentary on that one. So these like special guests that they bring on for this, and I guess I'll kind of thumb through this a little later or talk to Brandon. But like saying GSP is going to do commentary, you get the sense or the hope that they're going to be there for more than 1 or 2 matches. But instead, it's usually used as a promotional tactic like, hey, since you're here, can we, like, listen, you were supposed to have a match. We kind of need people to tune in. Just say your nonsense. And for Gordon, he does do commentary, and GSP is the GOAT of MMA. So it's not like they don't have good insight. It's just, are we using them right? More to come. All right. It says, thanks. New Fish Sticks is just a nickname because my last name is Fisher. Ah, well, now that makes sense. Okay. It's very funny because there was a moment where, what's up, Gio Voss? Good to see you, sir. We're watching us some Victor Hugo versus Big Dan right now over on the UFC Fight Pass Invitational Cinco. But I initially read this because this is how you can tell how fast I have to read these things. I thought you said it was because it was your finishing move. And I was like, are you a pro wrestler? But that's how many pro wrestler friends that we have this day and age. So here we go. This is a 10-minute match. But given both of these guys and how they like to roll, it may not go the full 10 minutes. So there is that. And there's 5 minutes of overtime just in case you are inquiring about how this rule set goes. But Victor Hugo, very accomplished. Very accomplished. Definitely is under the six blades. God, what's wrong with me? Shit, I'm going to hear about that one. All right, I blame it on the alcohol. Sorry, Lovato. But yes, 6 blades. Definitely trains with Lovato, but is belted under the Barrow brothers. And it's very nice to see him out this way. Ooh, Big Dan. Very, very nice throw by there. Literally just kind of moving around and just like so much power in this dude to the point where Victor gets kind of rescued by the ref and pushed back into the center of the mats. Yeah, I don't know, dude. There doesn't seem to be any smart variation to what to do with this. I think everybody's kind of in this mode of just let it run. Let everybody do their bullshit. If they go off the mats, we'll just reset the position. Womp womp. Like, for these two dudes, you get the sense that this isn't a big enough space. Victor shoots in, does not get it, goes to guard, looks to kind of abuse the arm here, looks for an omoplata. Big Dan literally comes up on top. There might have been an opportunity to take a sweep here, but Big Dan very, very nimble. And Victor already looking to get some butterfly hooks, maybe spacing him out to go to an X guard, but grabs the back of the head and back around the elbow. Now that's an opportunity for Big Dan to attack the leg. Victor very nicely reading it. Moves his way very quickly out of it. Big Dan now starting to move. Putting that knee pressure on. And he's going to come back up. I do get the sense we may reset this one sooner than later. Especially if they move to one particular side or not. So that is what's happening thus far in this match. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Rafa Spars. In case you are unfamiliar, I host a show called The Grappling Hour. You are watching our watch along, our fight companion for this particular event. That is the UFC Fight Pass Cinco. So this is where if you're Victor Hugo, you kind of know the game is Big Dan's probably going to try and do 2 things. He really loves to smother people for whatever reason. Okay. I guess they're really into that shit over with Danaher. Or 2, his explosive leg attacks have been so debilitating for so many people. So in a sense, let him kind of play up top sounds like a good idea. And Victor is very, very insistent upon these kind of omoplata entries. And Big Dan was able to eat and stuff most of it. Hugo able to regard very nicely, though. Most people probably would not, especially if they were getting lifted like that. So this is a very interesting back and forth. What's up, Noam? All right. It looks like Victor wants to stand back up and Big Dan wants nothing to do in giving him that time. He's kind of pummeling the leg back in. And it says the UFC should do these in the octagon. Okay, I'm thinking about it. I mean, it's one of the Victor just gets pushed by Big Dan. Like, the referee stops it and Big Dan just pushes him afterwards. Such a goon. What a goon move. I'm thinking about, okay, going back to the octagon comment. I mean, it is a signature element of the UFC. So I do see what you were saying in that regard. I don't know if you've ever grappled in a cage. You might. I don't want to make assumptions here. But if you have not, it's not fun. Like, the first moment your body, even if in a rash guard or without it, because it's worse without it, you have to build a callus to getting cage work. And it is excruciatingly awkward because when I work with some MMA guys and they're like, hey, do you mind if we use the cage? I go, no. And then I do, and I immediately regret it because they put a lot of good pressure into that. So it definitely changes the game. But we did see it used for Chael in Submission Underground. I think they just figure this is a classier presentation. It's just, yeah. People are going to abuse this like a substitute teacher. There's no getting around it. This is what it is. This is what jiu-jitsu is going to be. You're going to see people continuously using it. It's not necessarily new. I mean, we've seen Vagner Rocha kick AJ Aga's arm off of a mat, which maybe there is some use for it. But yeah, I don't know why you're not. If you're not penalized for it in any way, it just becomes part of the game strategy. It's part of the ADCC. You know what? If you're not going to penalize me, I'm going to take this shit off mats. Now, to his credit, this referee is running around very nicely. I think that's the person I feel the worst for, is the referee having to make laps all around this cage. He's probably more tired than the participants by the end, for being honest. But I did think this through, so thank you for that. I'll sit on it. It was something, it had crossed my mind, but now that we're kind of seeing more and more of it as a real life zoo, animals going out into the wild issue, could actually be something here. And Big Dan, I don't want to say it was a takedown as much as it was just kind of like an exhaustion that you do see Victor Hugo essentially kind of getting like, it's not even a guard pull. It's just like it's more along the lines of what I'm seeing here. So there's that. Victor Hugo still managing to create some frames here. This is, though, one of those areas where I say I get that this is an absolute match, and absolute matches should be 10 minutes. But you know what? I don't want to see them 10 minutes. This is an 8-minute match. I think the idea is, on these things, you kind of have to convince me it's worth the time. Like, what are you going to say to me that is going to convince me that we can't just do this one in 8 minutes? It's not your main event. Maybe that's what we have to do. Maybe that's how we differentiate our main event like the UFC does for their 5-rounders. Like, if it's a title fight, maybe let's talk about it. But if it's not, like, let's get these guys to fucking work fast. Hey, Victor Silverio kind of like comes back up top. Now he's going to be working to pass. This is some excellent regarding here thus far in by Big Dan. Victor, the patterns here on the passing are that of somebody who's been under duress for a little bit. So they're not, I would say, 100% predictable, but they are proving not problematic for Big Dan at the moment. That's very weird because if you've ever seen Victor Silverio do his work, I mean, dude has time for days when he's really getting out of his shit. And speaking of having to get out of shit, he 100% had to put some effort into getting out of that heel hook there. left his leg out for a split second. Big Dan was looking at it, had it for a moment. Victor escaped and now is on bottom as a result of the change of position. So this is a decent back and forth between both of these gents. And this is 2:40 left to go. But here's my thing. 10 minutes for this match. I would actually be okay if it ended in 30 seconds. The overtime for your showcase matches, yeah, maybe, I don't know. We're figuring it out. You guys can tell me, like, if you've got something better in the comments, by all means. Throw it at me. Let me know what you're thinking and feeling. Because just as it stands, I don't know that I'm feeling this need to make a match like this, which doesn't necessarily have any title implications. When you say it's an absolute match, it exists with the same weight as your main and co-main. So, okay. But I don't know that the payoff has been anything different than something you would see as the best in the weight classes in other fields, in other weight classes as well. All right, Victor's still working from his guard. What's up, App Callie? Good to see you. Big Dan thought about taking the leg for a split second. Victor pushed him off. Now there's a nice little cup underneath this knee here by Big Dan. And it could just be wearing him down. But Big Dan also looks kind of exhausted here too. It's also wild to think that maybe just like a year and change ago, you were seeing Andrew Tackett beat Big Dan in a submission-only format. It's wild. Absolutely wild. Oh, no. So there is that to consider. Tony, thank you so much. Good to see you here still. I see that it's Tornado Alley, by the way, which is very funny to me. All right. Big Dan's trying to just sit on top of Victor. That's kind of what we got here. And an underhook was attempted. I think both these dudes are pretty exhausted. And the thought of giving them 5 minutes seems equally kind of exhausting, honestly. The thing that's saving us here is honestly the UFC slate of like, let's get this show on the run. In terms of, yep, match done, go. Match done, go. You get overtime, you don't get an interview. Which will be wild because in the last few matches, if those go to overtime, you have to interview those people. So you can get away with it for right now, but I think in the future, not so much. Okay. So at this point, fascinating. Big Dan is on a -3. Yeah, I don't know how you explain any of this to an average everyday citizen. Who's winning? Well, if you're watching it, you would think it would be Big Dan was winning it. However, he had to take some penalties, so he has some stalling calls, which means he's at -3 right now to Victor's 1 negative. Holy shit, they created the IBJJF. That's what they did. They just created the IBJJF without points for the first part. But we're now getting into advantages and disadvantages. Well, again, we did find out on this one that you do get the sense that they're able to get a break period before they get back in there. So, yeah, I'd love to hear if it's an actual, like, 1 minute period. We'll check out those rules a little bit later, but here we go. Back up, forehead pushing both these big boys. And that's interesting because normally this is the kind of grind that favors Victor Hugo. This referee, by the way. I just have to act this out. So the unsung hero of tonight is 100% your referee because I've seen this man do this just literally all night. Like, oh, shit. But it's never like a full-on like sprint, like your Terminator sprint. It's a, oh. Like it's really, it's heavier in the shoulders. Like, oh, Get over there, make sure that the audience doesn't die. Oh, Big Dan just kind of fell on him, even after he reset them, and is now having to explain to these two gentlemen, hi, you fell on him, so I need you guys to go back over there. Oh, come on, this way. Oh, no. Is that an injury? Uh-oh. Ah, shit. Victor Hugo may... no, he's standing back up okay. Or maybe not. Maybe it does have some kind of injury. And they're going to let it play. They're going to let him have that position, though I thought for sure he had touched him. Could be wrong. Okay. So now you're going to see Victor Hugo looking to Granby, and he does have an easier pathway to the back, but Victor, as a result, oh God, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Yeah, Big Dan continues to just push this dude outside. So when he pushes him off, that's clearly a violation. Like, dude, you had the opportunity to stand up with him. And when they call for a break in the action and you keep pushing them after they call for breaks. Yeah, this is not good, dude. This is, there's no penalty for that. It's just, he got a warning. He doesn't even get a negative point, which Victor picked up another negative for pulling guard as a result of that. So now it's a negative 3-3, which means you're going to go to a ref's decision. And if you're a ref worth anything, and you're seeing how exhausted Victor Hugo looks in this position with somebody who's on top, who's, you know, working to pass from that knee position, you're probably going to give the decision to him. So yeah, this whole rule set, yeah, Victor, you got to stand back up with them, dude. You got to push him off and re-engage back up. And unfortunately, I think he's spent. I don't know if one of those opportunities where he basically fell on him made something buckle, but or he's just exhausted. You name one of those things. But if you're looking at, I mean, dude, this is another area where you could call for a penalty. And Big Dan should be passing here. Victor Hugo doing just enough to keep him inside of the guard. Now, depending on how long he keeps him inside of this guard, you get the impression that we may be getting another stalling. What's up, Eddie? You might get another opportunity to see the referee given. Yep, that's a negative to Big Dan now. None of this match makes any sense. Just in terms of the scoring, I understand. Submitting people at this high of a level is incredibly difficult. Let's not pretend like that's not a thing. I'm talking about like trying to figure out how the rules apply in this. And more importantly, like how to create something here. Because you could make the argument that Victor is also stalling by not doing anything active from the guard. He may be opening it up. But now you have a scenario where Big Dan may have looked like he done more, but he may lose it on just the negative points. And if he passes guard here, then maybe he secures a point and a half or two that give him over. And Victor goes right back to guard. So, yeah, it's going to be confusing as fuck. Yeah, if I'm, dude, I wonder exactly how many times they have been warned to get that many negative penalties. I know that they were talking about, oh, Victor did come from bottom to top. That should be points. And he's in mount. Yeah, so now he's at a +1. He's looking to attack the arm. Big Dan may have his arm in trouble. He does get the tap. Holy shit. Wow. Okay, did not see that coming. Here's why. I don't know why Victor is well spent in that mat right now. Damn. I mean, Big Dan could have had that match. As absurd as it was in terms of the rules, Big Dan could have had that match. So I want to go back to see in here. There's a sweep. It's coming up top. And you thought for a split second, okay, if he gets to mount, that should be enough to just secure the points. It does. It does look like in this particular juncture, Big Dan kind of, like, I think he just mentally broke in that moment. And got beat with an Americana from mount. To be fair, he's beaten a whole bunch of people with a smother chest compression from top. So it feels only fair to see somebody like him get submitted with like an Americana, which from mount, which most people would say is an entry level thing. Dan is obviously not entry level, but sure. That's very, very weird because, yeah, I mean, as odd as that rule set was, you could have easily have seen Big Dan pull out a technical win, and it does look like they will interview Victor Hugo and Brandon having to take a knee. And he stands back up. What a champ. Victor saying he had the greatest year of his career. That's great. You know, listen, that's a good way to encapsulate what that was. He said that their match should probably be in the parking lot because they're just too big. And he's now asking for more matches, and he thinks he deserves the main event. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Victor Hugo is an incredibly accomplished grappler in a number of different formats, and I'm with him on, you know, he can deserve to get more, and I think he's being very honest and saying like I still got a lot more to go. Gordon Ryan's in my sights. That's true. He should be in your sights if he can stay healthy. At this point now is just what's the insurance like for putting Gordon Ryan on a card? I'm just asking. What's up, B Cruz? Hope all is well with you. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Rafa Sparza. I host a show called The Grappling Hour. You're watching our Fight Companion coverage of the UFC Fight Pass Invitational Cinco. And so far, it's been interesting. We've had some good moments. Elisabeth Clay was awesome. Really enjoyed that. And other stuff. We definitely had other matches. I'm trying to think of what other things really stuck out to me thus far. That really was like the hero of it. Aaron Wilson also had a very good finish that was really good, and Hannah Goldie have been your kind of performers tonight that have really shown up for us, and that's been good. And it does look like we're going to be going over to Mason Fowler and Haisam Rida, and that is coming up next. So just in case you were wondering where we stand on the broadcast, we are currently at that position, and there's a little bit more show to go. So there's 3 more matches. You got Fowler and Rida, Samoas versus Rodriguez, and Meragoli versus Pena, and that is still left to happen here. And all of those matches are considered absolutes, so they have a 10-minute regulation with 5 minutes of overtime. And as we just saw here, the overtime can still be very prominent in terms of how people game it and play it off. So I'm intrigued to see how that comes and makes a deal of it. But woo, what a day, man. The UFC is now showing off the different fighters from the past. They have a little roundtable episode they did of the folks from the very first UFC, which I don't know if you've ever known this, but I have always tried to push for a get opponents from different MMA and grappling to have like a dinner together and create a segment. It's my hope to be able to do that in 2024. In fact, I'm going to put that down there. We will make that segment happen. I don't know how, where, or when, or why, but we will make it happen. So while we're waiting, let's give some love to all the different places. In case you didn't know this, the show here for our interviews is on Spotify. So you can catch our interviews on Spotify at Grappling Hour. It really does mean a lot to us if you check us out, because on Spotify at Grappling Hour, we're putting up our episodes of the show. So in case you missed any of those episodes, we're starting to put on our whole fight library, and we're doing it slowly but surely. So you can check us out there. And if you prefer this one instead, you can always go on over to Apple Podcasts. We are also on that, and that is at Grappling Hour. So it would mean the world to us if you give us some love and support, because every time we do one of these shows, we try to get new people to get some shine. And look at that. Look at that love that they're giving to our girl, Fatima Klein. Love to see it. All right, we do have to catch up on a quick cheers, because technically that is a finish for one Victor Hugo. So here's what we're going to do right now. This toast goes on out to friend of the show. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I can't say that because he's never been on the show. Let's just say this. This toast goes on over to Victor Hugo. Congratulations on your win in a very, very close and crazy match that went all over the place. You looked exhausted, but not without good reason. You were putting on a show for us, and we appreciate you, sir. And we'd love to have you come on the show and talk about it. So cheers to you, and especially for finding that sweep, because a lot of people, when they're that exhausted that late in the game, probably couldn't make that happen. But you did, and secured a finish. I thought it was pretty dope. So cheers to you, sir. Let's get you on the show. All right. So they're doing the prepackaged roll for Mason Fowler and Haisam right now. Oof. As a reminder, if you guys ever want to check out or get a cheers yourself right now, because we do toast for those who get finishes within regulation, all you have to do, give us a like, subscribe, follow on any of those areas that we've talked about. So right now, I see one that says Ty Kashi. I have no idea if you're at all watching our show, but this cheers goes on over to you. Ty Kashi. Not many people know this, but you were the person to tell Mason Fowler to try to do Submission Underground. And that changed his life. Cheers to you, smart person. Which, by the way, every time they show these clips of Submission Underground, all I ever think of is, where the fuck is that show? Well, you want to tell this to Chael. Chael, you're not allowed to be this lackadaisical. Like, at this point, you have to keep doing these shows. Like, where do you get off, sir, thinking that you can just stop making them? Rude. You literally bought a chair so that you could do the commentary yourself for Bad Guy Inc. Just have people grapple in front of you. You guys learned how to do it without people, so you don't have to have people. Just literally just make them show up. Do the thing. Ta-da. See? Look. No off button. Here. All right. Haisam Rida makes his way out first. Now you are getting Mason Fowler making his entry onto this. Very excited to see Mason on the big stage yet again. Mason, a longtime friend of the show, and we're stoked to see him continuing to do big things. You do have to figure this is an interesting 1-2 punch, because, you know, Mason has fought before, so this walkout feels very comfortable to him. But if you're Mason Fowler, you're probably thinking to yourself, damn, dude, I really wanted my crack at Gordon. I felt like I made my way to the final boss. And then when you find out that Gordon can't because reasons or health or tummy or whatever, this one's a rib, it's kind of a bummer, because you feel like you really worked your way toward that accomplishment. And the converse side of that is, Haisam Rida is not a bad match. Like, that's still a very solid matchup to get. It's just, I think conceivably, this is one of those things that checks your mentality, your expectations, and you have to be very, very persistent to stay on that grind and make sure that you still get the results that you want. So I'm intrigued to see how this one plays out for him, and I'm hoping good things because he's a good guy. Like Mason's always made time for us, and we very much appreciate that. But more than that, I feel like he's one of those guys who he deserves his due. Like he definitely is somebody who has worked his ass off for it, and we'll be very, very interested to see what he does once again on this stage. So stay tuned. Stay with us. What's up, eager ones? Good to see you. Happy to have you guys joining us on this Sunday evening as we are watching us some grappling on many different channels. And again, feel free to chime in with your thoughts, concerns, comments, hints, allegations, all of that good stuff. Oh, that's very nice. What's up, Kate Whitaker 999? Thank you guys for joining us. We're about to get off to the races right now on this match. They're doing the introductions. They're saying a few nice things about Mason Fowler, which you will never find us doing after that initial thing. Like we're good on saying nice things to him. What is it? Fight Pass Invitational. Let's go. Boom. All right, you guys, we're starting off. This is a 10-minute match. And right now you got Caltera represented by Mason Fowler. And Haisam Rida has actually been training a bunch with the B team guys. It looks like they've kind of adopted him, though. He is definitely somebody who came on our radar very, very in a major way. What's up, LA Jiu-Jitsu Club? When he was on the quintet, and obviously Gio was able to avenge his brother on that one, but he just looked like such a huge problem in that format. I was just like, damn, you look like a scary ass dude. And his grappling has been very, very good. It's been fun to watch him do continuous things in these formats and in these things. Ooh, just shoving Mason off in the middle of this exchange. Now, as you'll see, there's just a difference of body types here. I mean, Hasim's very tall, and there does seem to be a good strength differentium. I mean, I think he knows what to do. The hard part to me is Mason's not a weak guy, dude. Like, Mason can stand and bang, and that's why he's been such a great representative for us. Like, he's been a workhorseman. What's up, Pedro777? Good to see you. And he's always been up for whatever you put against him. And a lot of people probably wouldn't have bet on him to beat Craig Jones, but he did, especially at Submission Underground. And, you know, Craig Jones had a victory over him at ADCC. So those two gentlemen, I'm sure, are going to know each other very well over the years. And Compressor Larry, good to see you again. And it says, good evening. How is everyone doing tonight? And this is from the Huntsman 20. Well, I'm doing great. And thank you so much for asking. And the matches have been okay. We've had a few, like, highlights. You know, obviously seeing Victor Hugo pull off just a miraculous comeback was really, really fun to see in an all over the place match. And here's the nice part. If you look at these two in their match right now, they're making their way. Oh, I thought that Mason got a nice jab in, by the way. The aggression on which you get these collar ties, by the way, they are 100% jabs and uppercuts. And especially if you're Mason, you have to make up for the height differentium here. You 100% are doing this like almost an MMA match. But yeah, I mean, it was all over the place, the match with Victor and with Big Dan. It's just wild to see that happen. Woo! Even that one right there. Mason Fowler kind of gets a takedown. More of a shove down. Haisam laughs it off, stands right back up. But as we were saying before, if you saw in the matches that preceded this, it always has a big fear that they're going to go off the stage. They're going to get off-platformed. And yet, with Mason and Haisam, you get the sense that they're going at it. But I don't think there's a giant fear of them going off the center of the cage or the mats here. I'm sorry, the platform mats. Because just the professionalism of what they're doing. So it can be done. And Mason like showed that first attempt right there to maybe see if he could get the space. Like I think the method behind the madness is to create that trip scenario. And ooh, Haisam thought he could read it, chambered in, looked to attack the arm, just kind of aggressively pulled guard as a result of that. I would hope that's not a negative point, by the way, for that kind of a guard pull. So what's interesting in this particular display, and there is a pass here by Mason. So congratulations to him. He's going to be able to work very, very nicely from this position. What is interesting in this particular juncture is that most of like these UFC fight passes and things on the UFC Fight Pass channel have been opportunities to bring more MMA stars to displaying grappling. These are like the first attempts really to just have grapplers displayed more than MMA fighters. And it does look like they are putting back to center of the mat, though. I don't know that we had to do that there, but I think he was just trying to figure out that to be something that was going to happen again. What's up, Miss Spearman? What is up, Lions? What's up, Gustavo? Thank you guys for joining. Right now, we are watching Mason Fowler versus Haisam Rida, and Mason is working from side control. Did get a very nice pass on Haisam, and this is that kind of bread and butter for one Mason Fowler. He has so many attacks here, and he's looking to isolate the arm, and this is going to be a good place to be. Haisam has very little opportunities here unless he's able to just shove and get on out. But Mason doing an excellent job isolating here. He was able to almost get the head in between the knees and start squeezing, and now Rida is able to get some space out. There is a reverse guillotine that you have to be very careful from here because Mason he doesn't fuck around in these positions, man. He has those dragon sleeper attacks that he can do, and now start to put that hip pressure on Haisam Rida, making him carry all of his weight, which for an absolute is one of the nice times where Mason doesn't have to worry about being a fat ass. This is from Henry's Rohis, and that's saludos. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate you for showing up, man. Thanks for watching along with us. And I'm sorry to the people on the Instagram version of this. There are comments that do pop up, and you may not get to read them all, but I definitely try to read them so that you know what they say, at least out loud. So thank you for working along with us here. Mason's still in that north-south position. He may have an arm here. He does have the Kimura, and he does get the tap. Congratulations to Mason Fowler. It'll be interesting to say the least. Wonder if Haisam is okay. Seems to be holding on to his arm. Eek. I think he's good. We'll find out here in a second, but I want to hear what Mason has to say in conjunction for this particular event, because you get the impression in the post fight he's definitely just going to call out Gordon again. Like that's pretty much the only thing you do, right? Like if it didn't go your way, you just call him out again. Here we go. So Brandon saying, did it play out the way you thought? I also appreciate the fact that Mason is at the arm around the play-by-play question guy. And he said it probably wasn't the most exciting to watch, but it was what I had to do to tire him out. I mean, Mason's definitely being hard on himself, but he got to finish, which not everybody can say. So I like Mason calling him out and saying, I want you at your biggest, your baddest. Let's get you healthy and back. And I think the real that is supposed to be, hey, Gordon, I want you at your biggest and your best. So get your fucking steroids in order, and whatever you want to go ahead and bring, just bring. I think that was the version Mason wanted to say, but probably incapable of saying. But that is a finish, which means we do give a toast to those who get finishes, even if they're Mason Fowler and a giant dork. Oh my goodness. Paddy Pimblett is there. He looks thin, so that's good. I'm curious to find out how the fighters that they have there, if they have other ones, how they're entertained by this. So it'll be interesting to have them chat in a little bit. If they do get any of them significant airtime, you are getting your co-main event coming up here in a second, but we'll do our toast first. Samoas versus Nicky Rod coming up very, very shortly. But before they make their way on out, let's do this toast right now. 2, 1. Oh, they're doing their highlight of Yuri. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay. This toast goes on out to friend of the show, Mason Fowler. Mason, congratulations on a big win over at the Fight Pass Invitational. Where you been? You haven't been on the show lately. Now, granted, I haven't invited you. I should. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do it right now. Maybe we can talk about that nice win that you did. Maybe I can roast you for other things that you've been doing. Technically, I haven't looked at your social media in a minute, but I'm sure you did something that's roastable. How about this? We'll get you back on the show. We'll chat a little bit, and we'll obviously do some roast. But it'll be good to talk with you, sir. So, Mason, congratulations. You made a great and impressive performance here tonight. And I got to say this about you, man. I know it's always hard whenever you have the opponent change, and you definitely deserve Gordon Ryan, but we really do have to work on this call out. Because Mr. King is like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, let me write the promo for you at the very least. Mr. King, get out of here, dude. Anyway, cheers to you. That's what I think we were getting around to saying. Cheers to you. Congratulations. That was a really, really solid finish here tonight, sir. Cheers. Mr. King, what the fuck? My boy. Need some work. All right, Nicky Rod making his way on out. It is funny because when you do see Nicky Rod walking out, and he's opting to go with longer hair these days, so there is that. But he's very much in his, like, he doesn't really walk out like a fighter. He walks out like a model. He just happens to be good at jiu-jitsu, but he definitely walks out with the cadence of, like, a background Zoolander character. So there is that you kind of have to go around and get used to. So Samoa's coming up. This will be a very good challenge for Nicky Rod. You know, he's already taken a pipe bomb seat, sitting there cross-legged, waiting for his opponent to make his way on out. But yes, appreciate you guys for coming in. I hope that you guys are having a very good day. If you aren't, that's not on me, it's on you. But I would assume that you are here to enjoy yourself and follow along and enjoy what it is we are doing here today. So just letting you guys know, we have much, much more coming up, but this has been a very, very good day thus far in. A very, very fun day of grappling to watch, and I'm glad that you guys are all here together. And it says, oh no, drama backstage at the UFC Fight Pass Invitational. Yuri Samoas and AJ Agazarm going back and forth. And apparently this was filmed by Damian Anderson. Oh, Jesus Christ. So dumb. You always ask yourself, like, how does AJ find himself in any of these situations? They're so silly. It's just so funny to me, man. It's like some days you sit there and you're like, there's no way AJ Ozam is going to be involved in this. Oh, no, he is involved in this story. Oh, look at him. Good for you. All right, Samoas Caltera again making his way back on out to coach him, I'm sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see one Mason Fowler in the corner of Yuri Samoas here in a second. So there is that, and that is happening right now, folks. And props to the people wearing windbreakers in Vegas. It is not that cold, you guys. Chill the fuck out. Nick Rodriguez brooding, definitely waiting for his moment. And Yuri Samoa is rude, sir. Let that man have his moment. Do not walk into his shot. He just literally strolls his way like like somebody in an SNL sketch, just blocking the path of his opponent. Like, come on, man. Give him his shine. Give him his 2 seconds in there. Though I would do that to other people. I'm just not good at jiu-jitsu in that way. So, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, hit us with your stuff, you guys. And don't forget, if you don't follow us over on the Instagram, we are at Grappling Hour on Instagram. And if you don't like that one, that's perfectly fine. It means the world to us if you can catch us over on our YouTube page. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're close. We're at about 895. And if you subscribe here today on today's show and I see it, I'm going to do a toast to you, just like we do those that get finishes within regulation. So this is Yuri. This is Nick Rodriguez. This is your 10-minute match at a co-main. And Nicky Rod opting to go ahead and pull guard here. Perhaps probably to lull him into a little bit of self-confidence and going into his guerrilla style of like advancing position while kind of keeping one knee down and one knee up with one arm kind of swinging him back and forth. What is up, sir? Thank you so much for joining us. And yes, we do have a very fun one here. Yuri kind of looked for a little bit of a knee trip, doesn't quite get it. And now we're looking at the scramble portion of this show. That's the nice part is Nicky Rod, there's a little bit of a strategy at play here. I do wonder what it is. He's sliding on in, and Yuri maybe looking to attack the legs here. You have to figure that these are both individuals that kind of have their beef with Gordon Ryan because if I remember correctly, Yuri is the one that is going to be competing against Gordon Ryan at the upcoming ADCC for the little absolute matchup. And Nicky Rod, for a split second, looked on over to the ref as if maybe to signal, hey, is this stalling? And Yuri has a high heist on this leg, gets a Granby roll from Nick Rodriguez, and the referee stops the action to return it back to the center. Very, very interesting matchup here. And again, if you guys are watching along, we appreciate you for being here. We are having a blast watching us some UFC Fight Pass. And I'm letting you guys know this, though. It is very interesting to see what is happening thus far in. So, Fight Pass, Invitational, 5. Bam. Here we go. All right. There is Nicky Rod now working from inside of Yuri Samoa's guard. He has kind of underhooks on there, and Yuri's trying to get his guard all the way closed. May be difficult to do. What is up, Chase? Good to see you. I couldn't tell if you were saying Os in your name, Chase, but there it is. Butterfly hooks here with overhooks for Yuri Samoas. So we talked about the fact that Yuri gets the super match, if you would, at ADCC. But Nicky Rod is just a longtime foe of one Gordon Ryan as well. And I think you know he's looking for another opportunity. And at a previous UFC Fight Pass, Nicky and Gordon had a hell of a match. So you are basically looking at two people that have kind of storied intersections with Gordon Ryan. And you're kind of getting the sense that if Gordon, and I believe he is commentating this one, you get the sense that he's kind of like telling you what he's seeing about two of the biggest threats that we do have for him. Yuri was looking to maybe attack the arm there, isolated. Nicky kind of forges out and back in. So this is interesting because Nicky Rod has been able to cut through so much in such a little amount of time. Like, Yuri Samoa has been grappling longer in jiu-jitsu than one Nicky Rodriguez. On the flip side of that, though, you're thinking to yourself, you're just like, well, at that time, Nicky Rodriguez was also making sure that he was getting his wrestling in, and that's where his bread and butter is. So you have two people who have been working for a very long time, but in our sport for jiu-jitsu, there are a few tricks that Yuri could have up his sleeve that kind of make up for that. But I mean, now you're looking at Nicky Rod. He's been doing this for almost, 4 years now? And it is wild, insane to figure out that's the differentium that you've seen with this individual in this short of a time. So it is very, very interesting to see how those dynamics play out in just relatively short amount of time. And there is a pass here. Nicky may have the back. Yuri has to be very, very careful here. There is a waist lock. Nicky Rod's trying to slow him down. And I think that Samois knows that he is under duress. So Nicky's grabbing around the back of the low side bicep here to continue climbing up. There is a potential back take and a head and arm at play. There is one hook in as Yuri's probably going to work to get his shoulder back on the mat at this point. This is a very interesting chess game that's happening. Now, seeing that that is a possibility, Nicky Rod is looking to put in a little bit of that shoulder pressure going back to a side control. And there is one leg still captured here. This is a very, very solid position. There is a mount here. Now, mind you, there are no points. Nicky Rod's climbing it up, climbing it up. Yuri Samois may be able to get some space. He does trap one of the legs. So that is going to put Nicky Rod back into a half guard at the very least. But Nicky Rod saw the opportunity and is grabbing underneath. Now, a reversal of the two. Yuri Samois looking up, I believe probably at a screen to figure out what it is that he is up against at this time. Maybe to see a better angle of where he's at. Nicky Rod has time to work from this position. He has a clamp that's kind of around the shoulder. This will allow him to potentially get that back take that he was looking for. Yuri's probably going to try and get as much as he can. His shoulders back on the mat, and he does manage to get out of it, but he is still back in contention. Nicky Rod shoves the legs to one side, trying to climb his way back in. And I mean, Nicky Rod borrows so many of his movements from what looks like animal-like movements. If you ever figure, like, you know, he kind of has like a gorilla aspect to when he is on the mats and he's crawling at his opponents. And then when he's like clawing his way, like it is Discovery Channel at its best, honestly. Like he definitely knows how to integrate those movements. And it is always very fun to watch. There's 4 minutes left to go. And here's the nice part. I think this is the stuff that keeps Nicky Rodriguez in his wheelhouse. However, Yuri Samois looking to attack the leg. Nicky Rod pulls the leg back. That is where that stuff comes in when you're training with the good folks over at B Team. Having them continuously go after your legs, especially after a loss to Gordon Ryan, where you do get attacked at ADCC with the leg, I'm sure that is something they have been working on. And having somebody like Craig Jones that you can really finesse and make sure that movement gets better and better as you continue to go. So, moving back and forth, you are seeing Nicky Rod. He's looking for an underhook here, but he's still trying to pass. There's 3:22 to go. And right before I mentioned all of this, I was trying to signal one thing, which is that for Nicky Rod, if you get to this kind of position, and yeah, you work with all those guys, you're used to being in this position for a long period of time. And the game is at play here again because you're seeing Yuri telegraph how much he wants to get that leg across. What's up, Butter Smooth Moves? It's good to see you. The reason why I bring this up is if you go to overtime, this is the stuff where maybe you start the match by looking like you're pulling guard or sitting to guard, where if you go to that overtime, now you're ready to wrestle. And now maybe you gave that false sense of confidence that you may not be able to, get away with the second time, but maybe that you only needed it for that very first portion. And now you can just go nuts. So we're going to see how that goes, but I do imagine this could also be racking up some negative points for Yuri because at a certain point, Nicky Rod is the one that's initiating these actions. There is a little bit of a Darce opportunity, doesn't quite get it, but now Nicky Rod has a body lock here, surprise, and is looking to climb that up on Yuri Samois. He's going to wait, and I think he has to be very cautious about where that arm position is because Yuri is one of those guys who can get that Kimura from outside and use it to his great avail. Like these are two powerhouses who are fighting for that opportunity. All right, here we go. Nicky Rod on a seatbelt grip here. There could be a back take. So it's going to be very, very cautious to see how both of these gents play this one on out. There is a hook. We'll see if he can get the other one on in, but there's an aggressive hook. There could be a head and arm here. Yuri is definitely trying to just power out of it. And I mean, he's definitely strong, but this is one of those guys that it's very hard to outpower in this regard. So now, Nicky Rod almost at a head and arm here. Yuri is under duress. He has to move, and he has to move with efficiency. And now Nicky Rod's just staying heavy in this position. He's more in the mount. He's kind of not in that head and arm position. Now he's going to take a moment to recalibrate, maybe work the other side. But this is all building up if they do go to overtime. This is quite nice. And I think Nicky Rod might have been asking how much time he has left in this match. He has his eyes focused and is pretty solid in this mount position. Yep. I was wondering if Nicky Rod was going to go into that mouth smother. He did for a split second, put the hand, cupped it over the mouth, but Yuri was moving too much. Now there's a little bit of a pummeling game. There's a kind of baseball bat-esque grip that Nicky Rod has that I think he's just trying to make it miserable for Yuri Samoas to exist in this position. So that's kind of what's going on in between. There's 33 seconds left to go. So anything that you're trying to do to get any kind of advantage at this perspective is mostly making it so that you can make your overtime a little bit better. A little bit of a gift wrap here while in the middle of an escape. It might be a little too late, but yeah, Nicky Rod goes right back to that head and arm. And maybe you don't get it, but yeah, if you can put in everything you can into these last few seconds, that's going to be a much harder shot for Yuri Samoas to shoot off in this overtime period. So it looks like we are going to go there. And that is what we have here at the moment. We end the regulation time in your co-main event as both of the gentlemen will likely go over to take their short break of what I assume is probably about a minute to 90 seconds where they can converse with their team. So Nicky Rod looks like, I think he's talking with J-Rod, his younger brother, and it does look like that's Damian Anderson, who is joining him, who we should thank for the additional there. Ooh, now I see it much clearer. It was like that fake out pulled guard for that snatch single where, not even snatch single, it's that low single that you kind of hit and you take out the entire world. But this is a whole dedicated package to one Nicky Rodriguez. I guess if you're Fight Pass 2, it does bode well. Both of these guys are ADCC competitors and medalists. But it does bode well. I mean, Nicky Rod is already back center of the mat, ready to go. And it does look like Nicky Rod is working now from a -1 in this perspective, which is, God, this is so stupid. So he has a -1 for still getting the takedown and still dominating the match. It's like he's still kind of fighting again. I think he's going to take another negative. He might have gotten swiped in the eye. Yeah, it might have been an accidental eye poke in the middle of that. I think he's waving it off. We look like we go back to it. So I think that Nicky Rod is trying to get the biggest bang for his buck. So he figures, all right, let's keep efficiency. Let me give you my leg. Let me let you try to take in what you figure is your wrestling advantage and just play off of that. What's up, Carlos? Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you guys all for being here. There is overtime right now in your co-main event. Nicky Rod, once again, looking for that kind of like hitting low single that you can hit. And it's very difficult to do, but I think he was successful in it before. That snap down looked like it really threw Yuri off of his base. And he's going to be working from a negative advantage, a negative from here. So Yuri Samoas is ahead 0 to -1, even though you saw Nicky Rod dominate the match, which I did. Ugh, this is so dumb. Yeah, we really have to figure out these rules. Okay. All right, back up. 3:50 left to go. You do get the sense, though, that if you are Yuri and you do say that you won this, I don't think that that's a real thing. I mean, we saw you get mounted. We saw you lose. This feels like the opposite issue that we have with EBI overtime. Like, some people say that you lose maybe from, like, the ride time or the overtime from EBI overtime, whatever. Here, you're kind of losing from the penalties that you had during the match, even if you won the regulation portion, which is the sub-only portion, which is irrelevant. But now both of these gentlemen have negative points. So at the very least, if we do go to that, what's up, Eddie Arizal? Oh man, how have you been? I hope you're doing well. You should come train soon. It has been too long. World's most okayest. Good to see you too. Pleasure to see you guys. Yep, there's a waist lock. I think now Nicky Rod is looking for, again, the opportunity to go back to mount, looking for a side control. I believe we should be at points. Ooh, nice back control attempt here. Ooh. Oh, man. Yeah, this is not going to be a good day at the office here for Yuri Samoas with this remaining time. Nicky Rod is really making good use out of this position. Now, here's the weird part. None of this is points. So as a result of it, Nicky Rod would definitely have to either get a back take or get a mount in this position to secure a win. For sure, at least from the points perspective. Otherwise, it comes down to a judge's decision, and I don't think any judge in their right mind could give Yuri Samoas this match. Especially not without the aid of the negative advantages, which, again, is going to be a conversation for a different day. But here we are. Now, Nicky Rod trying to cup underneath the head. He's using the wrist to more so just, oh, God. It looks like he's really going to make Yuri Samoas' nose turn red just from moving it back and forth and oscillating it. Excellent control here from Nicky Rodriguez, who does not quite there yet. I mean, these are close. This is very close. Yuri Samoas now has another negative point that has been put on his place. So Nicky Rod could essentially take his time from this position. But if I'm him, you probably want to get this finish. He is using the mouth, covering it nicely. And these grips where he's trying to get these cross faces, they definitely seem to scream a little bit more and more each time as punches. And Nicky Rod, oh, Yuri Samoas looks like he is very much not appreciating any of this. The expressions on his face look like one of just external pressure. Nicky Rod in on a head and arm choke. He might be able to get this. Now, what's weird is if you're Nicky Rod, I think you probably want to go to mount. Yep, and he does. And you want to stay here so that you get your points, then resume that head and arm choke. But I think you want to make sure, and he does get his points. So that is going to give him now several points from that mount position. And Yuri Samoas has to be very careful. There's 21 seconds. And I think if you're Nick Rod, you just kind of want to leave him with a parting gift at this point. And yep, why not? Why not back points from this point? And going crucifix and thought about a triangle, and Yuri Samoas is too tired to do anything. So that is going to basically get us to the end of this. What's up, Oliver? I think now Yuri Samoas, that he is out of all of that detriment, is trying to push the action. That's going to end the time. And Nicky Rod is definitely your victor here. And Yuri's trying to pace himself up. That's going to give Nicky Rod the time to let everybody know he still works out. Thus the rash guard off. And Yuri Samoa is trying to prolong this by not getting the hand raise or presenting himself for the hand raise. And we will get interviews, I am sure, here in just a moment. So congratulations to Nicky Rod. A very, very excellent performance from your incoming ADCC champion. So raises a lot of questions for what you could see this upcoming year. Let's hear what Nicky Rod has to say with Brandon McCathin in just a moment. I think he was supposed to say Black Belt Slayer, but you just call him a black belt, which I'm not. Is he? What's up, Mike? Nicky Rod says Gordon is walking out and he's trying to get a match with him. And now there is a moment on steroids. So Nicky Rod putting up $50,000. Okay. Interesting. Well, all of the storylines seem to be I want Gordon Ryan next. And if you're Mason, you're probably looking at this like, you dick. I was supposed to have that match. Now, how do you turn that down? Because if you're Gordon, you've had it before. But with Mason, that's the match you were supposed to have before. That's a weird thing. And then look, you've got Meragoli, who's coming up next. So let's change that branding here real quick. And Pena. And Pena at the end of this, if he wins, and who knows if he does, but you have to get the impression that if Pena wins, he probably wants Gordon too. And he's going to come out with his, yeah, I want chubby baby, give me chubby baby. Oh, we're not really much on storylines here in this sport. But yeah, Gordon Ryan essentially getting all the storylines like this. Hey, buddy, how are the matches so far? Hit and miss. What's up, Super Buster 84? Oh, Oliver, always the bearer of joy. Okay. Here's what we're looking at. Tag team handicap match. I know, man. It's really embarrassing. Most of these guys can't beat Gordon, and it's annoying. But it is what it is. So, where are we at? They're doing a nice recap of what we have seen. There's Felipe Pena, who, still a very good jiu-jitsu practitioner. And you've got Meragoli, who, by the way, earlier, I guess in the past week or two, has said that he wants to be an actor. And it's weird. If you read his captions that he writes for his Instagram posts, he definitely could be an actor just based off of that. Like, I have seen misinformed actors in my time, and he would write in right there. It's so weird because you get the sense, you're like, is Gordon writing this post? Is this Danaher just doing some sort of weird side project thing? But every time these guys talk, it's very interesting. You paid me a compliment. Yeah, I guess so. Tito Ortiz has starred in Operation Black Ops. Yes, he has. All right, your main event's coming up here in just a sec. Anything is possible. I see that. Monteiro, she did go, and Monteiro did not win. That would be Elisabeth Clay pulled off a heel hook, I believe, earlier in the night. There's been a few things we've seen, so yeah, we'll say that. Meragoli versus Nicky Rod in the WWE. That's a much better match. I would 100% watch that. And there was talks, apparently, with Nicky Rod in the WWE. It's weird because he has the right physical look. The selling, I'm not sure of. And the other thing I've wondered with Nicky Rod is like his ability on the mic. I think he needs some work. Now, granted, he has a podcast, and that's good. He's getting out there, and he's being conversational in that. It's a very different mic work feel. Like, they're not quite the same. So, like, the way I do this is different than the way I would play to a crowd. They're just different forms. So that's why right now when you see people are like, dude, Logan Paul, no, he's not good on the microphone either. They just give him douchebag things to say. And he has a very dumb airiness to his actory. But yeah, we got all these people now who are like, I want to be an actor. Me too. Oh, dude, that's dope. I think I'm an actor. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope not. Oh boy, I hope not. But like, what we should do is just get Meragoli some company that owns a perfume, but it's not a real perfume, and let him think like he's a model for a little bit so it gets the vibe of being an actor. So, because like all of these things are so funny. What's up, Blake? MMA 170. Like, even when you write these things, these slogans, like, I've always said authenticity has its price. What? Really, what does that mean? Authenticity. Man, I'm so authentic. And it has its price. Oh, okay. So, like, what? Huh? Did somebody not give you your acai nicely today? Like, what the fuck does that mean? There you have it. He would be the New Jersey Thug, so no acting needed. Oh, is that to Nicky Rod? No, you still need some. I mean, have you seen anybody from the Jersey Shore act? Just saying. And WWE is like a heightened form of acting, but like the people who are very good at it know how to listen to a crowd. We're not there yet with any of our performers. We have mostly people who just come in with a prepared statement of like, yo, let me hear you guys. This is so great. Yeah, that one dude, he's a douchebag. That's kind of where we're at still. So just saying, we're in infancy of our thing. Yeah, they're great at playing themselves. Again, I think there's a very fun element to what they do. They're incredible at getting people engaged in watching their lifestyle stuff. It's just, it's a different beast on doing it. I could see them getting harassed day one. Agreed. He cut his hair. He did. Anything is possible. All right, cool. So we are at your main event. I'll take your guys' predictions in the comment section. But you have Felipe Pena, who is, again, super good. Meragoli, who's been on an incredible tear this past year and a half. And it's so funny to me whenever you see Meragoli putting up these posts, and he also says, like, you know, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, I was going to quit jiu-jitsu. And I go, I just don't also believe that. I can't see a world in which he wouldn't have been doing jiu-jitsu. But yeah, sometimes you can get so stressed by it, and it is hard to be at that competitive level. And it says, if you think the UFC Fight Pass is a few seconds ahead, can you let us know where you're at? They're right about now about to do the match. So there's the face-off, a shake of hands between the two, and Combate. So time has begun right now, Oliver. Just to let you know, 9:57 is on my clock. There is that. So my apologies if I'm a few seconds ahead of you. There's not much I can do about that, but I can tell you things from the future. Doesn't help with lotto numbers or anything, but I can tell you what's happening right now. And we're at a weird game of mercy between the two. It's only a one-handed game. And Nicholas Meragoli just trying to move with some distraction, if you would. Gets a few little bumps over on Felipe Pena's head. And it's weird because, you know, it's interesting to see, but like the heyday for Felipe Pena, you wonder if that was a few years ago. You get somebody who's young and hungry, and now okay, so they're handshaking. You guys better not pretend to hit each other, or else. So, back at it, main event still. Both of these gentlemen going back and forth, and you know, I think this bears a moment because while we're waiting for action to happen, we were promised at least GSP and Gordon Ryan to be commentators. And you have your standards, and God bless Brandon McCatherine there with TJ DeSantis, and that was definitely a slap, by the way, by Felipe Pena. But it does beg the question, what would it have sounded like if it was just Gordon Ryan and GSP? And I'll indulge you right now. Well, I just want to say that both of these guys are actually subpar grapplers. I mean, Nicholas Meragoli has only been good because he has been working with me. What do you think about that, George St. Pierre? Yes, Gordon Ryan. Everybody knows you are GSP's number one guy to train with. I am number one at all time. Never forget that, though. GSP is number one MMA. Gordon Ryan, pretty good at jiu-jitsu. Like, that's what I'm paying to hear them do on Fight Pass. Whatever it is they're doing right now, I'm pretty sure is not even that level. So there is that. Lots of emoji sucking here. Yeah, probably, dude. Oh, look at this. I remember I did this once too. You look at Matt Hughes. I hit him once and I chop him down. Oh, no, that looks very bad. Looks like Felipe Pena go to X guard. Now they go into audience and he gets, oh God. You know, what a great moment to remind people that Felipe Pena does want to be an actor, as he's currently like, oh, this, oh my God, I can't speak because I've been hit in the mouth. This is so funny. Felipe Pena's side, he definitely locked up that outside 50-50, and the referee's giving him some strong words here. I wonder if those are negative points, but are they going to start them off in the position? Okay, so from here, you did see at the very end of that, Felipe Pena closed that. Yeah, I don't know that that actually happened though, but okay, if you say so. It says Neymar level flopping, absolutely. There's a leg attack here from Felipe Pena, but it's not quite 100% there. Who uses it as an opportunity to rush back up, but may just have almost gotten swept. Does not get a complete sweep here. And it says the only difference between the average WWF WWE entertainer and Nicky Rod is excessive PEDs and in turn enhanced moods. I mean, you need to see more of these guys who are there now. A few of them, if they're on roids, they're on pretty good ones, but they're like on the regular person looking one. Like, dudes have gotten smaller over the years. Don't get me wrong, definitely some that are crazy. But like, the UFC definitely, or I'm sorry, the WWE definitely favors big dudes who just do nothing. But if you're Nicky Rod, you want to utilize that agility and that strength. So you kind of have to have a mouthpiece to do something for them, which you could do. But there's only so many Paul Heymans to go around. So I don't know, man. I feel like they've definitely embraced this culture of, leg attack here for Felipe Pena. And you see Nicholas Meragoli working on a straight footlock at the moment. It's not bad to begin with, and Felipe Pena has to do some work here, but there could be a few pops. So you have to be very careful. Felipe Pena trying to go on over. There's a very good attack. Felipe Pena using it as an opportunity maybe to take the back here. And Nicholas Meragoli, excellent job here maintaining and keeping the grip on Felipe Pena, who tried to use that for a split second to get some pressure down and continue working the pass. And it says, thought you were going to do the old verbal tap GSP song. Give me a second. Let's see. I can definitely bust that out. I thought that was going to be his sign off if he was doing that. Articulate BJJ, good to see you, brother. I hope all is well. I mean, not too well. Well enough. That's what we should say. Gordon, what'd you have to say about that pass? What'd you think about that pass from Felipe Pena? Well, obviously that pass was really embarrassing for him because he couldn't even do it on one of our JV members because Nicholas Meragoli actually hasn't graduated yet. He's still on the JV varsity squad, so there is that. And, if I was doing it, I would have gotten it 15 times. GSP, what are your thoughts? Oh, very much so. I love the shininess of Felipe Pena's head. It's so good. I have looked at it 14 times and so very nice. I think if you get out of this position, you need a frame with your T-Rex arms. It is very important to create distance from you and opponent from this position. Thanks. That's why we pay you guys the big bucks to do the commentary here. Well done. Sup, man? Yeah, good enough. Times. Hope you're good. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're at the halfway mark of regulation. A grip over here. It looks like thus far in, Meragoli has been the aggressor. And it says, hey, I was wondering, Raf, why is GSP here? GSP is everywhere, my friend. GSP must be here because he was supposed to compete against Nick Diaz, which is completely a person we had to deal with. 100% finish that deal. Because Diaz brother is very easy to get contract with. Even though we announced Damian Maia. And then we didn't. Anyway, GSP doesn't know anything. La 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 la. GSP not in contract negotiation. Ooh, nice jab there by one Felipe Pena. And there's a return receipt there from Nicholas Meragoli. Wasn't he going to do Damian Maia? Well, I don't know if he was going to do Damian Maia. When you write it like that, it sounds kind of dirty, bro. But I think he was supposed to have a match against him, yes. And Felipe Pena now doing an excellent job of positioning over the ref to be like, come on, man, you're going to let him do this while I slap him 3 more times? Yeah, that's another one, dude. Nicholas Meragoli pretending like it's not a thing. Do we have red cards here? Yellow cards? Oh, God. The referee now has gotten to the point of grabbing them both by the back of their heads like a dad and being like, hey, you guys are ruining our family fucking vacation. Do this for your mother, okay? She really worked hard for this vacation. All right, back to the action. 3:33 left to go. Again, the aggressor thus far has been Nicholas Meragoli, in my opinion, but that doesn't matter because this is the sub-only portion where only negatives matter, if you can believe that is a rule set. It's just the thing. We're going to have to workshop this. I hope we bring it up. That's pretty good, too. I do like that. A little flick up there was vintage Felipe Pena. You can always say that you can tell people that there was a bug on their face. And it says you got to love the single colored strip on the black rash guards. Oliver, you were not here with my big meltdown over that earlier. Because I was wondering, I was like, well, where are the anklets? Like, how can you tell who's who? And somebody from our comment section, much like you, was like, oh, yeah, there's like a stripe. And I go, what? Looks like they went on a wall that was painted and didn't know it. They're like, oh, shit, I got a blue stripe here. Damn. Uh-oh, calf slicer. Nice slicer, but Meragoli very prepared for it. And this is something that you have seen. This was actually that outside 50-50 position was something that you did see Felipe Pena trying to utilize with Gordon Ryan. A nice exchange of positions here back and forth by both of these gentlemen. This has probably been the most active both of them have been throughout the entire match. You gotta love this because right now you are seeing Felipe Pena play leg spaghetti with Nicholas Meragoli. And you have to love the fact that they are both fighting for the opportunity to attack one Zordon Ryan. I love Zordon Ryan. He is number 1 in jiu-jitsu. He is definitely in my art as perhaps maybe the greatest of all time at jiu-jitsu, which, as we know, much easier than doing MMA, because that's the real one. So real goat, fake goat. Says Pena uses that bear trap position a lot. Unfortunately, it's pretty stally rather than a serious threat. What? You think he's trying to stall? How dare you, sir? Yes, you're correct. However, when you do have a match with people for like 59 minutes at any given point, I would probably try to stall to get my wits about me too. So I get it. And I think it's just kind of an instinct that you do. I don't know that it's super effective, but goddamn, I mean, it does happen, and he's very good at getting it in that consistent manner that he does. So this is some interesting guard play between both of these gentlemen. Congrats. This is all right. This is kind of making itself worth my money, so I can give them that. Now you are seeing one Felipe Pena. He is very tired boy. I think he has taken some sleepy time tea, and now he is looking for any kind of leg to try to attack Nicholas Maserati. Nicholas Maserati, very good at jiu-jitsu. I very much like him. I also love the car he make. Very nice. And we finish on time. Mercifully, they did not slap each other into oblivion. So there is that. And it says, yeah, agreed. It's good for controlling the space, but I think it's something he's brought across from his gi game that doesn't necessarily translate effectively for no gi. That's a fair point, but it's also weird because I'm sure the lower level people that he does it to, it's so annoyingly problematic that you're just kind of stuck in it. And maybe it's stally, but he can explode or do something crazy when he's working with those folks. I think when you're actually getting to this level where you get a Pena, you get a Gordon, I'm sorry, not a Pena, a Meragoli or a Gordon, it's harder to have that same kind of explosiveness or surprise. But I'll tell you this much. I mean, I'm pretty sure if Felipe Pena did that to me, I'd be like, dude, this is annoying, but fuck, you're pretty good at jiu-jitsu. What's up, Keto Kid? All right, you are catching us right now. We are doing a Fight Pass Invitational Fight Companion. And was that Calvo that's there? Is he working with him? Let's find out. Just in case you guys are wondering how you can support us, there are many different ways. You can check us out at Grappling Hour on YouTube, get the notifications, get all of that sort of stuff. And I love that this ref is coming on over and making sure that they're wiped down. Didn't do that with anybody else. It's just so fascinating, the amount of stuff that they do that is specific to the storylines for Gordon Ryan. Like, Gordon is the one that starts the, actually he's been greasing, and I want to make sure that he's good and not greasing. And then you get the pomp and circumstance that they go, oh, he said he's greasing? That's good. Let's get a towel here. So that way on commentary, he can say he's greasing. When in actuality, that was only a 10-minute match. So if he was doing anything that sweaty, it was not that comparatively different than anybody else. Unless we didn't see them toweling down anybody else, but I did not. So it says, GSP, oh, look at this comment from this number one funny guy in comment section. He says, GSP knows a lot about greasing. Oh, I see. Okay, so you come for GSP. You think that GSP grease? I am sorry that I sweat excellence and I crap opulence. Okay, GSP number one for reasons that you cannot comprehend. First, you do not have supreme ball head like Professor X. Number two, rude. Number three, GSP never grease. Other people grease. Holy shit, that's negative 5 points for Felipe Pena. Oh, Jesus. This is a really fucking tough thing to explain to audiences. Like, could you imagine, like, all of us are pot committed, but could you imagine being a civilian, maybe going through Fight Pass, maybe seeing GSP is going to be commentating this and saying, well, what happened here? Oh, negative 6 points? Uh-oh, yikes. What the fuck am I watching? GSP is Canadian, not from Greece. Keto Kid says, this has been a complete shit show. You said GSP is Canadian, not from Greece. What the fuck are you talking about? Can you believe this? This guy is doing a pun about Greece. This fool says, I am... Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. You got Felipe Pena down into the crowd, and it did look like he was kicked off, by the way. It doesn't matter how many people you have blocking this. I guess show it again. Okay. So he's launching off. By the way, I think that's my favorite highlight from the night. In order to try and run out from a takedown, you opt to face plant into the mat and then roll off into the ground. And now the referee's like, let's go back to the position. So you essentially have one of the legs built up. Keto Kid, here's my issue. I wouldn't even call it a shit show. It's just the rules are giving you what they're supposed to give you given the talent, unfortunately. Because I'm all for pick points, no points, whatever. Whatever's your fancy. Just do it and commit to it. The merging of the two seems incredibly stupid. Also now, it looks like we got to get lawyers involved before we give up any one of these positions. He did, so he had that and you were turned away. That's when you face planted. And now Felipe Pena is trying to argue with the referee, who is kind of the guy in charge. So I think he's recognizing like, oh shit, your face hit the mat, bro. So what do you expect? That's what we're going to give you. Yeah, you didn't even have your hands up. To his credit, though, that is a very difficult position to recreate. So now the referee is like, hey, man, how are we doing this? And while they argue it out, they're going to a replay, which is honestly just a still photo showing where it was. I saw a face plant. I don't know that you should. Yeah, what do you expect? And now he's going to give him another negative point. So that's negative 7 points. I'm so sorry if I laughed too loud in your ears, but it was so great to see. -7 points is absurd. Okay, you're out of the position. So literally, Nicholas Meragoli just has to continue breathing for 2 minutes and 52 seconds and he'll win. What is up, Kusa Jiu Jitsu and Wellness? Negative for arguing? That's what I thought. At this point, it's comical the amount of negatives. And yet, at the same point, that's kind of what you expect from these gentlemen who do jiu-jitsu. I mean, Meragoli definitely tries. I don't know that I can give him too much shit, but that seems about par for the course of what I've seen for Pena matches in the past. So it just feels like you're not taking care of your talent. Could you imagine in like a Super Bowl setting being like, ooh, 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 that could have been a leg lock. It is not. And now, you know what? Nicholas Meragoli might head into the actual points portion. That's going to be a back take shortly. Yes. Now, do we take body triangles as points? We do. Okay, good to know. And it says, at that stage, just be like, bro, you lost a. Yeah, I know. It's rough. I mean, if you're Felipe Pena, you just don't want to get submitted here. That's really what we're looking at. However, looking increasingly more difficult by the second. One of the arms is there. And yeah, I think he just kind of gave up in the position. Didn't want to see that. Well, for this reason, I could accept him losing. This does bode well for the Gordon Ryan comment that he does break under pressure and that he does crumple. So, etc., etc. That's what's going to happen here. Oh, man, that's rough to see. Well, the audience looks like they are rushing out of the stage. I think they kind of are in the space of thank God we can leave now. Ugh. You know what? We need more challenges that keep Meragoli here because I just don't want to see him in acting. All right, here we go. Ooh, get to the question. Wait, was there a question? Eek. What's that, Emmett? Meragoli says that Pena is a tough competitor. So at this point, you got Meragoli who was saying he was complaining because he was jumping outside. Okay, so Brandon, yeah. If we could send a note, Isaac, to Brandon, let's make sure we get a question in there, not just the observation. So he has the arm trapped here. I think he knows the arm's there. Yeah, it's not even like he finished the choke there, and I wasn't sure if I saw it, but I mean, it's definitely like it's done. Like it's a done spot. It just looks like mentally, it just looks like he's kind of quitting from that position because he recognizes it's not great. So Nicholas Meragoli says he's going to take some time off from competition. And Nicholas Meragoli is announced as your winner. I want to hear what GSP sounds like here, by the way. I mean, it looks to me like the two best guys are training in the gym. Gordon Ryan and Nicholas Maserati. So those two guys, Jordan Ryan and Nicholas Maserati, those two guys, best number one of all time. Look like two guys, one number one gym. That's what it sounded like at the end. Mike Stranka, you were asking for us to do one of these. So when we used to do the impression of GSP on the show, we would kind of close out with him giving like some sort of insight or look at the world with a song as well. And I just want to hear if GSP has any kind of like comment that I can kind of lift off of here. So if you ask me, GSP, here is what I believe happened. I believe that it started off very hard for Felipe Pena. He was like, oh no, you are very hard to jiu-jitsu. And then I said, okay, get in head, try to go. And then I face plant on mat. I run off of mat and I say, oh, I don't want to jiu-jitsu anymore. And then Nicholas Maserati comes over and he says, all right, you must jiu-jitsu me. I take position and now I take your back and now I'm number one. And I just say, if I GSP, number one brain of all time, I now have hair magically. Where did that come from? I don't know. And we say, ole, 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 GSP. Didn't want to be here, but still cash check. So there's that. And it says, I will never get used to GSP with hair. Nobody will, sir. What's up, Val? It's great to see you guys. So that's kind of the thing. We had some more of you guys show up right now, by the way, because I think you're looking to either have a conversation about it or you definitely were watching and you kind of were like, what did I just see? Well, that's a lie. It wasn't that great from top to bottom, but they're recapping the action while we do a solid here and go over a few of our notes. I mean, is it a yeah, it is. It is a toast to Nicholas Meragoli. So let's do this real quick. This cheers goes on over to Nicholas Meragoli. Congratulations on getting it done. I know that we kid a lot about Felipe Pena, but he is one of the all-time greats, and getting a win over him is no slouch. And as you mentioned, you've done it in both gi and no gi, which some other guy, Gordon, has never done. So I'm just saying, you definitely deserve your props and congratulations. So I see here, Mike, thanks so much for the commentary. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you guys for being here. We'll take a few more minutes before we close on shop here. But if you guys have questions or thoughts or concerns, hit them up in the comment section while I'm still on the air, and I'll go and address most of what you guys can throw at me. A few reminders. If you guys want to go ahead and check us out, you can check us out at Grappling Hour. That is on Instagram at Grappling Hour. We have new stuff coming up all the time. You can see clips there. You can also see clips over on our TikTok, and we are at Grappling Hour on TikTok as well. So check us out at either of those spots. You can also go on over and check us out on our Discord. So if you guys want to see where our Discord is, just hit me up in the DMs or send me a note. We carry on the conversations that we have here on that Discord and much, much more. Plus, just to let you guys know, we are very close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. We kind of made it a goal to try and hit that many people by the year's end. We're currently at about 895. So if you gave us a like and a subscribe and you were following us now and actually become a subscriber on our YouTube page, it would mean the world to us, and we'd give you a toast just like we do those folks who get finishes within regulation. So you can check us out over there. You can also, if you're old, go on over on Facebook and you can find us at /Grappling Hour. All of these places are acceptable and whatnot. You can also check us out on Twitch. We are on all of these different places. What's up, James Jimmy Lee? That's like 3 different first names, by the way. Check us out on Twitch. We're going to do something fun. I'm not sure if it's this week, maybe early next week, but something we're going to try that we've never done before. So very excited for that. And just to let you guys know, in case you want to follow along with our written words, you can go on over to Twitter. We're not calling it the other thing because that's stupid. But Twitter, for the time being, will be there. Who knows if that's still going to be a thing by the time, next year rolls around. And now as it comes on over my face, you can see we are also on Threads. I know some of you use it. Not everybody uses it, but we do a little bit of spoken word on either of those, and that is at Grappling Hour as well. Some little news to tell you guys. We are now updating our library so that if you've ever wanted to see our stuff, and maybe you've asked for the audio versions of our interviews and whatnot, all you have to do now is go on over to Spotify, check us out at Grappling Hour, and all you have to do, if you're there, give us like a 5-star review. It would mean the world to us. I hope you like it. I would say give us a review. They don't do that. They just do stars there. If you want to give us a review, you can go on over to Apple Podcasts, and you'll see in the past week, we've put up a bunch of our newest episodes on there. So you can check out that. We're putting on all of our backlogs on there. We're finally getting around to that thanks to some help that we are now getting on the show. What's up, Jordan Jitsu? What are your thoughts, Jordan? Because, oh man, that was a whole weird vibe, right? Tonight was a weird all over the place thing, right? I didn't just invent that in my head, right? What are we going to do about this rule set? Jordan, I asked you earlier what we were going to do about trying to steal something from wrestlers, because you saw Mason and Haisam, they were able to play within that space. It's some other folks that are like, I'm going to try and use this by ending your life and throwing you off, or using it to escape, or just kind of pushing around because I'm really not going to get this takedown. I think we know that. But I can shove you. Shoving's like a takedown, right? So that's kind of where we're at on that shit. And I'm still trying to figure it out. I think it's going to take some finessing to figure out what people are thinking or feeling on that one. So there is that. But I'll welcome any comments that you have, because the other thing is we need to figure out this point structure. This -6 points going into an OT, if you have -6 points, there's not a reason for OT. And yet you have to give people the OT because you promised it to them. And do you really want to end a match in the -point OT finish? So somewhere in that line of logic, we didn't think that through. And that's why to me, it's strange to be able to say like, hey, this dude won, kind of. But we didn't give him any points, but now we're totally into points because hybrid, and we just don't like EBI rules because evil. So, and I can't even be bothered to call this ADCC hybrid rule set. It doesn't, maybe it has the feel of like ADCC when people don't know how to wrestle. There is that. I will concede that. But from my perspective, it didn't quite work. And it says they found a way to ruin wins by advantages. That's what I'm saying. We ended up getting advantages somehow. There was a moment where I actually said out loud on tonight's broadcast, I said, oh my God, they IBJJF'd it. And it legit hit me, and it just made me go, what the fuck? So there is that. And it says, they found ways. Yeah, we did that. And it says, actually having it out of bounds that is enforced and playing with the edge results in stalling passivity calls. Yeah. There's something about that, dude. I was asking one of our wrestling guys, and I was like, how do you guys do this? And he goes, well, you give up points when you do that. And I go, that seems so fair. And yet I still favor sub only, and it's very difficult to find one of those kind of rule sets that everybody's into. But then you go to ADCC and everybody wants to have their fucking points and all that sort of bullshit. So there's a lot of things we have to workshop. And here's the thing. I want to talk to Big J about this because Big J is a very smart individual, and I'm curious to know his thoughts on if he thought it worked tonight. Because in my opinion, I don't think it did. And maybe it was, we brought this with good intentions, but yeah, we got some feedback tonight, and we kind of agree. It just didn't work. And it says, and scoring must take place in bounds. That's the wrestling rule set. Or freestyle, where there are positive points for push-outs. Sure. I think I could get behind that. I think it would take me a minute to figure out how to finesse that, but I think that's an actual thing. When you say that there's points to be had if you do get push-outs, what if we're talking like legitimate push-outs? I don't know, in wrestling, I see a lot of dudes getting shoved out of bounds just because they're like, oh, dude, I really need these 2 points. I know I see aggressive things, and I know I see them like chased out of that area. It's fucking weird, dude. What's up, Drum Steven? All right, we did all those. Who do we have coming up in the next week? Well, in the next few days, you should see the following people on Grappling Hour if you are a paid subscriber. What do you mean by paid subscriber, Raph? Well, let me tell you. If you want to support the show, you can go on over to hi.page/grappling hour. What do you get there? For 30 days, you get access to my interviews before anybody else. What that means is you see them before anybody else if you get early access. However, if you want to pay a few extra dollars, you can get premium. And by premium, you end up getting tape studies, extra episodes that aren't available anywhere else, and a segment we like to call Roast Raph, where people roast my competition footage, which is, by the way, one of my favorite things to do. So if you guys want to go ahead and support the show, it would mean the world to me, and I would really, really love it, and it would be great. So go support us at Grappling Hour, and that is hi.page/grappling hour. I should also say this. What's up, Sasha? This is last week for, I think, getting stuff done. So this week, we're also going to have some t-shirts made, t-shirts and sweatshirts that are going to go up. So hoodies and t-shirts are going to be on sale very, very soon. I would very much urge you guys to buy them sooner than later. I think they probably are going to sell out, and we'll have more information about that. Tomorrow, I teach my last class of the year over at Mama because I'm going to be on vacation and then Christmas. So please be there on Monday, 7 p.m. if you want to go and roll through. And even if you're in the area, give me a shot. Let me know. We'll go ahead and bring you on in, and it'll be a lot of fun. And I believe this time next Saturday, we will be doing a fight companion for UFC 296. I think that's the one. Yeah, that sounds right. So for UFC 296, we'll be back here. Only we'll be over at Milton Arguello's Mixed Martial Arts Academy for our end of year Christmas party as well. So it's a big smorgasbord of everybody getting together. Yuletide antics, all that sort of stuff. So I'm very excited for that. But coming up next on the show, you're going to see Ryan Aiken, Kevin Buring, Mo Black, who got her ADCC interview. And there was somebody else. We just did Ian Butler recently as well. But I know I'm missing somebody, and it's going to bug me. So give me a second to go ahead and figure this out. I think those are the upcoming folks that I know for sure. Those interviews are happening very soon. Kevin Buring and Elijah Carlton, the winner of the PGF. That's the one who I was forgetting. So Elijah Carlton, your grappling jabroni, will be back on air on this podcast very, very soon. So I hope that you guys want to see all those folks and support us and et cetera, et cetera. So that is what we have coming up in the near future. But yeah, my friends, we're closing up on the year. So it really does mean a lot if you guys give us some support and some love. And if you guys ever have any questions, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, you know where to find me. I am the world's easiest individual in the world to find. All you have to do is just send a note on over to Grappling Hour on any of the major social media podcast, and forever and ever, you'll see us. I just want to thank you guys for joining us. It was a long night, and we're going to go ahead and close up shop, but I had a lot of fun. I thank you guys. We'll be seeing you, like I said, within the next week with a whole bunch of new broadcasts, and we might do something fun now that we can do this on Instagram. This makes me so happy. I cannot say this enough. The fact that this broadcast now has a version that can appear on Instagram. Mwah. Game changer. Game changer. So I'm very excited about that, and I hope that you guys are going to return for more and more. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for us. It has been a great day for grappling. We'll catch you back on the mats.